Okay, gentlemen, are we all here ready to fucking go? I asked you all a question! As I reveal my giant monkey! That's not as funny as you thought it was, boy!
God, I thought he meant
God, I thought he meant Pierce.
I swear, the only thing I hate more than weaklings. Hey, I'm speaking, soldier! Don't fucking speak unless you're smoking fucking dirt! What we're gonna do is we're gonna fly with
The talk show at the end of the week.
Space is big.
Star Citizen Base.
It's really big.
Round Table. And welcome, hello everybody, listeners,
faces.
citizens, people, ladies, gentlemen, and anything in between. I mean, you gotta be inclusive nowadays. Welcome
No, we
to
don't.
the what? Yes, you do.
What?
I shouldn't have said that. Anyway, hey, let's do this again. Welcome to the Star Citizen Base Roundtable here on Sunday every week when we sit around. Let's sit around this round table. It's imaginative, but anyway, and we talk Star Citizen. News, salts, sugar, sweet things, good things, bad things, anything, and often, sometimes, like last week, we even have special guests. And today, that is Mitauchi. Is that how I say it?
Yes, that's how you say it. That works perfectly.
Wow.
He's
And,
Dutch, so that's a miracle.
Yeah, it's
All right. Before we get going, I'm going to back up a second and say, if we're going to have fucking neutral pronouns on this show,
Oh my god.
the only one that I'm
Humans.
going to accept is pilots.
Sure.
Period.
Okay.
That's it.
Hey, maybe I don't want to be a pilot, asshole.
I have zero plans to be a pilot.
Well,
Right?
then
Oh,
move on.
There you go.
that's already a problem there.
Yeah.
Damn. Well, but
Good try. Good try.
we.
You will have to
Okay.
be a pilot.
Continue.
No, not
Continue,
really.
Rob.
We do this show with with the whole usual team again. Like once again, I am Relem. We have Gentile there, and the only in the far corner, as indicated by the little text above his webcam. Below me, Instar.
Hi.
And in the other corner there is Moggimus once again. We're all here. Hello. And of course today with Mitauchi. Yeah, welcome. Should I? No. I'm gonna hand this to the usual people who ask this question.
Mm-hmm. So I have a question. Who the fuck is Mitauchi?
Me? I'm just here. I met this girl on the bus, and she told me that I needed to come on the show because he needs somebody to fill the seat. And I was
Bus,
like,
man.
well, I guess so. Yeah, it's all good. No, I'm a full-time Star Citizen streamer. I stream some other games too, but Star Citizen is definitely my anchor game, and I stream 7 days a week. And I love Star Marine, even though it's a shit show most of the time. We can say shit show on here, right? So,
Yes, we can
Yes.
say whatever on here.
Okay.
It's
That's
exactly
right.
what this is.
I'm sure of that.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's a shit show a lot of time, but I still love the game. And fly spaceships, blow stuff up, and have fun. That's what we do.
I like blowing stuff up.
Yeah. Explosions are part of the prettiest part.
So you fly spaceships, but you're not a pilot.
I try not to
Okay.
fly them very often. I have no plans to be a pilot eventually. When I'm capable of not being a pilot, I will be just the FC and that's it. FC and then
So-
do ground and pound.
Crewman.
So I remember, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, something of that nature, we were doing a show and you were in chat, and I'm fucking horrible with names. So my assumption was that you were the dude from Test, but that's not Mitauchi, that's Montoya.
That's correct.
So who do you represent here besides yourself? Because obviously,
well-
if you're a full-time streamer, you're pretty self-centered.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
I went I went a different direction what Test did. I love my Test Bros and all, but I decided to make the Space Bros, which is my channel community. And then in game we have Overwatch, and Overwatch is a mercenary org that we have where we're just gonna do work for creds and all that good stuff. So that's a whole different ball game than what we have there.
So you're currently
Overwatch,
how
huh?
many members?
I think 170 maybe. We don't really actively
Well,
recruit because there's nothing.
That's not
to
too
do.
bad though.
It's not. I mean, we have plenty of guys, and we also are open to anybody to join because since it's a mercenary org, you can stay in your primary org if it's allowed, and you can just affiliate with us, and then just do jobs on case by case. You want to take 2 weeks off your regular work and come out and do some combat ops, or we also do non-combat operations like help supplement miners and everything else because we want to try everything in the game. We just want to get paid to do it. So,
Got it. Does that make you pro piracy?
we live in the gray area there. We're good with
Okay.
either way. We'll help protect, but we don't have. We have an asset reallocation program.
Okay. That's a political way of saying that.
There you
Okay, I gotcha.
So definitely, I got friends on both sides, so I'm good with whatever.
So you're basically going to be a mercenary contractor then.
100%, yeah. That's what I did on EVE Online. I have we played 8 years of EVE Online, some of us, and then I'm hoping to bring some of that aspect, much to the chagrin of many Star Citizens. But I loved EVE, and I want to bring as much as some of that type of content and certain game mechanics into Star Citizen that we can encourage. So,
Good times.
yep,
You said you stream 7 days.
7 days.
Is that your full-time gig?
Yep, full-time gig. Only job right now is to do that, and then I stay home dad. I used to do help desk and things of that nature. I used to be a project manager for an IT firm over in Kansas, and then after we had our first child, my daughter Chloe, we decided it was better for me to stay home because then my wife
You get to play computer games.
Well, at that time I was working from home and I had a brand new baby, so it wasn't really something I was like, oh my gosh, let's do this. Anybody as a guy who has a 2-week-old baby in his arms is kind of like, I don't know what to do with this. Sorry. But I've grown to love it, and I love being home with my kids, and I'm able to step away from this at a moment to do stuff with my family and my kids. So that makes it really awesome. And I get a lot of opportunities that no dad does. So I really appreciate all that.
So what do you do? Do you dad during the day and then fucking stream when your wife gets home?
Well, what we do is during the day, I get the kids ready for school, take them to school. I stream a morning stream.
Oh, okay.
Stop my stream, go pick them up. Then I come back at night and I do a night stream too. So I do 2 streams a day. I usually stream anywhere from 6 to 10 hours a day. 7 days a
What?
week. Yep.
You have an illness.
Well, if you're gonna do it, you got to do it. You got to go all in.
Go
I mean,
big
if
or
you're-
go home. Holy
yeah, that's
shit.
what I'm saying. I mean, you got to consider most streamers like myself. We only make the equivalent of somebody working at McDonald's, for a monthly salary. I only bring home probably, and I tell my whole chat this, in between $800 and $1,200 on a good month. That's all I bring home from the actual stream. So it's not like we're
That's
doing
better
it to.
than nothing.
It is, and it's better than me working.
paying for daycare.
That's right, and and I get to be there for the kids. So
Fucking
Just-
A.
being not the primary breadwinner, but being able to support that, and then having an awesome community like the Space Bros to support me doing that has been amazing. I mean, for God's sake, they just sent me to Germany and TwitchCon, right? They funded that entire trip for me, which was really cool. So
Well, that
Really
is fucking cool. Well,
Yeah.
you get much props for not shipping your children to daycare.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
whatever
That's
it takes.
That's cool. So your stream, multi-streams, 10 hours a day, 7 to 10 hours a day. There's no way you're doing all Star Citizen content 7 to 10
No.
hours a day. What
No,
else you got?
Right now, what we do is I still play Star Citizen usually each day. We only play about an hour or two because you got to pace yourself. It's a long project. That's the way it goes. We play PUBG. Right now, we're playing a lot of the Assassin's Creed Origins, which most times when I pick up the main titles, I'm like, play it for 5 hours and it's shit. So I end up saying, yeah, whatever. But Assassin's Creed Origins been really, really fun, and the community's liking it, and we're having a good time with it. So we're going to grind that all the way out, and we're just playing.
That's a
PUBG
recommend
between
for
that.
you then?
Absolutely recommend.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to have to look into it then because I
if
was
you
debating
if you
it.
like Assassin's Creed, any of the Assassin's Creed titles, I think you'll like Origins because it's kind of more the root. It's not Black Flag. Black Flag I loved, but it's got a lot of the base elements, very smooth gameplay, no glitchy bullshit or anything, and it's set in ancient Egypt. So I kind of like that. It's a good genre.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy it today. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I'll buy it during one of the breaks then.
There you go.
Recommended by Mitauchi. And then when it
Absolutely.
sucks, I'm going to fucking find you.
Yeah, just tweet
On
all
your
about it,
stream.
saying
I'm going
this.
to come to your stream and
This
talk a
douche
bunch of
that
shit.
came on my show sat there and told me to buy this crap. Hashtag bad recommend.
Bad tweet. That's great. So
Absolutely.
did you like the movie too then?
The movie was okay. It was
The
a stay
Black
at home
Flag
watch.
movie?
No, the,
the
Assassin's Creed, one.
movie.
It was okay. I mean, it was
Anybody
an action
can
flick,
chime in
but
on
it,
that, obviously.
but it was just it's one of those things. Like I felt like it was something that was going to happen. And I'm glad they did it, but I hope they don't do it again.
Is it kind of like
was
Warcraft
okay.
movie? Like no one gets it, but the fans that
Yeah. If you're a fan of the genre, I think you'd enjoy it. But even there, I don't think it was like excellent. It wasn't like I don't know. a lot
No, it
of
wasn't
people did
super great, but you didn't have to be a fan of the franchise in order to get it. It could
No.
it could stand on its own, but it wasn't like fucking Star Wars. you know?
No. I mean, you could enjoy it if you like action flicks that really you don't have to think too deeply about. You'd enjoy it. That's the
Hey,
thing.
there's still people saying what is Star Wars. So
Oh my god, find those people and purge them.
not in this community. Really?
Burn them.
I am all in on Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I don't do a lot of canon stuff. I'm just kind of a vanilla truist, but for the movies. But yeah, I love my Star Wars.
Well, that's good because there was a tweet that went out from, I don't remember who it was, that said that there's a whole new line of Star Wars movies coming off that are side stories away from the main character plot line.
Yeah, and
Which
I was
Rogue
doubtful
One set the
about
fucking standard for that,
Yeah.
dude, because that was great.
I was nervous about Rogue One, right? Because it's like I was like, oh, is this gonna be good? But it was so awesome. It was so
It was
awesome. I was
good.
like,
it
It
was
was
like
so
cheesy
dark.
yeah,
It was cheesy as fuck.
No way.
It
It was
was-
so
Yeah.
dark and
cheesy as fuck.
you gotta consider and you gotta think about how many spin-off
Everybody
movies.
died.
That's right. But that's you knew that was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
They basically made that entire script of that movie off what 2 lines off of like a Star Wars movie, like like many Bothans have died. It's just like trying to get this information. They're like, hey, let's make an entire 2-hour movie about it, and they did a really good job based on that.
I watched that with my
What?
10-year-old kid, and my kid just said at the end, "This is the worst Star Wars movie ever.
Well, to a
Everyone
kid,
died."
yeah. Well,
It made it great.
That's why
That
it's
was-
awesome.
That was
you
awesome
probably
about it.
should have
Exactly.
set that expectation as
Screw Disney.
a parent
Kill
to
everyone.
begin with. I don't really sit my kids down and go, hey, surprise, guess what? By the end of this, everyone's gonna die. If you give them the outset all the way, there you go. So, like, we saw Thor Ragnarok today because it's my kids took me for my birthday to go see Thor. That was our deal.
You took them to see it.
Basically, yeah. But I told my 5-year-old son to begin with, I was like, Thor loses his eye at the end because I just wanted him to know. Even I wasn't trying to spoil the movie, but I just didn't know to gauge his reaction because he's a huge Thor and Hulk fan and all this stuff. And he's like, "Oh, okay." So it wasn't like one of these things. I was waiting for him in the theater when it happened for him to go, "Oh my god!" It's like no, because that would be his reaction. But no, he was cool with it. He's like, "Thanks for letting me know, Dad." So sometimes you got to.
So for your birthday, huh? Is today your birthday?
Today is my birthday.
Well, happy birthday, chat. Happy birthday, Mitauchi.
There you go.
I
Happy
would ask you
birthday.
how old you are, but that's inappropriate. We don't do that.
I don't give a shit. 41. I'm 41 today.
Oh shit, you're still a baby.
We're getting there.
Well, he's reached the correct age, but he doesn't seem nearly grumpy enough.
No, I stay positive as I can. I get grumpy off the air. Just,
Is that right?
No,
This is all a facade.
it's all a
Lift
facade.
the curtain. Fuck
Yeah.
you. Put
This
the
is
curtain.
my character. No, I told everybody when I hit.
This is my character.
I'm just gonna stop counting whenever I hit 50. I'm like, who cares after that?
Well, you'll still be streaming Star Citizen and still be waiting for 3 something.
Hey, and a lot of content creators I've talked to say, how do you stream that? It's like going to be forever. And all is like, hey, my game won't ever run out. It's like, it's longevity, baby. It's like, what's going on? Well, it's 2024, guys, and we're still waiting for that beta to drop. Let's do this thing.
But if you're good with time management, you won't have a
right.
shortage of content because there'll always be little bits of new shit. So
I got partnered off of grinding on Korea to shooting people in the faces in the PU repeatedly for months. So I mean, that's so single faceted in the mind of like what most games we play is. I was like, 3.0 will have literally months and months of content, and people are so worried about 3.1. I'm like, if they do like what Chris says and they actually try to do quarterly drops, I hope they do this, and they only give you what's ready and just push the stuff to the next drop and do these drop intervals. I don't care if it's only 2 spaceships come in. If they do regular content drops of something, we'll have plenty of stuff to do for a very long time in the game. I don't care about release dates and all that shit. I just care about regular content interval drops, and that's it.
Well, the key part to that statement is if there are features that they would like to get in that aren't ready, they will just cut them.
Yeah.
And push them back.
And push them back for the next drop interval. Absolutely.
I
think we're seeing the precursor of that right now, because as many people go, we got the 60 players supposedly coming in the game, the 30 FPS, all this stuff. I believe, they could drop something right now if they really wanted, but it'd be kind of a smelly mess because they still got shot polish and all this other stuff. See where they're at. They're going to wait till the holiday live stream, drop it, make all the workers come back and work over the entire Christmas like normal, and then we'll have something decent by mid-January.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even if they get on this quarterly, release schedule, those should be, like significant content releases. Like in between that, they could still drop a patch or 2 or 3.
They could, but it'll probably be mostly fixes, I hope, right?
I would hope it would be bug fixes and hot patches and shit like that. And then,
but they could throw little things.
They could throw
webs or something, like you said,
And I'm sure they'll throw in suits, ships, and weapons during that time because they're going to want to sell those. And that makes more sense. So like, hey, we're gonna
and all the things they want to test.
The aesthetics for sure, and all that. But I would see like economic resets quarterly, those type of things, so they could test all those metrics and everything else throughout the entire course of the next year.
Death of a spaceman, would be a major mechanic that would come in a major update.
They're going to put medical in to do that though, if they want to do it that way, because that's the whole medical and rescue is like part of that, right? Because you have to have the tenure to actually be saved instead of just being like,
more than that. It's also how when they do that, they're gonna add what happened if you actually are penetrated in the from the armory, how much damage and all that stuff. So it's quite significant.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to that.
I am.
It's probably not going to be as complicated as it is in SWAT 4 or in Arma, but it's still going to be hopefully resembling.
It's the most important aspect of the game to me because it ties into reputation. Because reputation is the only thing you lose in this game. It's the only thing you logistically lose unless you're just an idiot and don't reinsure your ships. Because in EVE and other games, you actually lose items, right? You lose money. You can be insured, but you don't even get enough money back in EVE Online to replace the weapons that fit on the hull of your ship. Here you get your hull back, you get those type of things back. The only thing significantly that matters to me would be rep. And you have to understand what they're going to do with rep, which we don't really. We don't know how hard is rep to get. How hard is rep to recover?
Oh, fuck, they don't know yet.
Well, they can't do Death of Spaceman until they figure that out.
But I'm sure they have it on paper, but...
Well, you have to remember that they can just set 50-50 and then they adjust those tables as they go along and push it up, push it down. So, they have the idea of how it's going to function. So that mechanic is in, but where they're going to balance it, it's not going to happen until, the majority of people have got to try it and they see that, okay, 90% of the population just became criminals because they took a right turn instead of a left turn.
And I think they're going to have 2 metrics though, right? I mean, because you can't really you're going to have, in EVE, we had reputation as far as your relationship with individual organizations and reputation as criminality versus good versus evil. Because you could be really tight with the UEE, but you might be a bad guy. You know what I mean? Because you might do their dirty work or something like that. But if you do an illegal action, it doesn't mean that inherently every company is going to hate you. It could impact each other.
It's going to be each company probably going to have its own matrix, Each system, each government's going to have
Yep.
its own metrics. Each local
A
going to
lot
have
of
its own
sliders
metric, and
that
then
are
you're going to
gonna
have a
impact.
UE. Then you're going to have UE metrics, and then there's
Yep.
going to be a metric for the piracy factions and for
Mhm.
the Spiderweb City, all that stuff. It's going to have its own. Even though you're a revered pirate, you might be not eligible to enter some of the pirate cities because they think you're a jackass.
Exactly. Or you could be a bad guy and have a bad rep with other pirates, right? Like you might have murdered all these other pirates, but you're still a bad guy because you rob everybody else too. But it's very important for my organization because as a mercenary, we have to keep a neutral reputation because we have to be able to travel into bad areas and still have some access to good areas. If we're like, to use metrics of EVE Online, if we're -10 criminals, you can't even go into a good area or a positive security status area. Well, how am I going to go over here and commit this job if my guys can't even get in that space without being attacked by NPCs every time? So you really, as a mercenary, have to kind of remain as neutral as you can. So when you do bad things, you have to have a metric to how do you recover a little bit. And so that's why that's a big
You know
question
what that's
for me.
called? It's
What's
called
that?
multiple accounts.
Yeah, but you every 40, you know how expensive those jobs would be if I got to blow $45 every time I want to get back to neutral again.
No,
that's,
you have one account that's gray and positive, then you have one that's gray and not so
Well,
positive.
shit. On that note, one thing we don't even know about is having multiple ship packages, creating multiple character slots. So
Yep.
will you be able to play both sides within the same account just based on whatever character you choose to play? We don't know. I would assume that would be the case.
Yep.
It makes sense in my head, but as far as reputation goes, I would think of it as convoluted and complicated as you can come up with in your mind, multiply it by 10, and that's what Chris Roberts is going to fucking want.
There you go.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's
Haven't
gonna
you
be
blown
good.
your mind in every aspect so far?
You got to think when you get Chris Roberts and Tony Zurvek together, that just like amplifies the complexity.
The documents become this thick on one simple mechanic.
Yeah, I guarantee the documents we get are the cliff notes of like
Right.
all the stuff. You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
It's got to be the just the highlight of whatever went through there. But
all of us have been here for a while, right?
Yeah.
Been there for a long time. Well,
I don't even know where I'm at.
But Eden has already been here for a year
Don't
plus.
look.
So imagine how people in the beginning said, well, don't theory craft about this because it's never going to be like you want it. But think back to what you were thinking and wanting out of this game and was theory crafting about. And Chris Roberts has stepped over that mark by at least 2 times so far.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
So you can theory craft all you
for
want
Chris'
and you're
sake.
going to get it.
Yeah.
No one will ever accuse him of not being ambitious.
Yeah. And the thing is, until they actually got mechanics in and we're in beta, there's nothing set in stone. I mean, they reserve the right to wash
absolutely.
away anything they want.
But they won't.
Yeah.
They'll make it work.
They'll make it work for sure. But I'm just-
Mitauchi, we were not going to have procedural planets that you could land on that were 360 degree spherical objects with fucking gravity that function. It wasn't going to happen. Remember, the internet said it can't happen. It cannot.
And it can certainly not rotate around the sun.
It can't do any of this. And
Chris
it does.
didn't even think they could
So-
do it, right? Chris didn't even know that they'd be able to do that. That was a weekend project the guys did. And said, hey, look what we can do, And
because here's what happens. This is the best part about CIG is you get the most creative fucking people and you unchain them and you get them out of the EA mindset of it has to fucking sell units. It has to be a Call of Duty clone, a Battlefield clone, or whatever clone, because that's where the money's at. And you say, just fucking go nuts and give me the best that you got. And they go
nuts.
Really?
Release date doesn't matter.
I can do that? Oh shit, I'm fucking coding on the weekends and I'm on the shitter on my phone trying to figure shit out and fucking everything.
It's a lot
It's
of
a
people.
culture.
Yeah, well, a lot of people also miss the aspect like this. I know in many corporations and many regular jobs and everything else, how do you get ahead? How do you get that promotion? You have to innovate. You have to be the guy that stands out with an idea. What better way to do that and say, hey, look, man, I know you said you couldn't do planets, but watch what I just built for the entire game, this whole thing, And that's how you impress people in the game industry, especially in this. And you have the opportunity to do that at CIG. And that's the awesome thing.
How many different companies, because the guy that did the planets came to the long curly hair guy, I don't remember what his name.
Brian Chambers.
Brian Chambers.
Brian Chambers.
I had a great conversation with him at CitizenCon.
And said,
He said, just give me a week.
Give me some time, And Brian Chambers said, go, you have all the time you want.
Yep.
And he came back after months and a half.
Yep.
With the result.
Yep. Because he
never
he
underestimate
proved
with a passion.
Well,
Right.
and the other thing is, Brian, one thing me and Brian he was talking to us about, and this is over at the Yacht Club for the last Bar Citizen party thing we had before I flew back home. And he said he has a specific philosophy when he hires somebody. He said the rules are they have to be the absolute best in their field. They have to know their shit and know it well. They have to believe in the project. They don't have to love like the space genre, but they have to believe in what they're doing in Star Citizen. They have to actually be all in. They can't just be a smart guy and they know the mechanic and all that stuff, but they have to do that. And the third thing is they cannot be an asshole. That's exactly what he told me. He said they cannot be an asshole because he said our culture just doesn't allow for it. We have to work as a team. We have to do all that. He said if you're the smartest guy, they could love Star Citizen. If they're a fucking asshole, I won't hire them. And he said that's the thing. And he chose the best people he could find from everywhere that he's been associated with, and he keeps recruiting people like that. So Brian Chambers is like the god recruiter for all the engineering guys over there. And it was really impressive. So it was a great conversation with him. He's also an awesome dad, too.
So we're going to go to music break, but I have two things really quick. Questions, like any other Twitch channel, questions, square brackets, you know how to do it. Especially for Mitauchi, load him up with whatever. Ask him what he had for his birthday dinner. It doesn't really fucking matter. And then what in the hell are you doing in here, Eden?
Hi.
Ass location.
I was setting up the waffle.
What is going on?
There's a little
I have
raffle.
no idea. Obviously, I kind of having a conversation, watching chat go by. I have no idea what you're doing in the background. What are you doing?
I'm setting up the waffle for today's show.
Explain yourself. What's going on? What
giving
raffle?
away a $10 gift card for RSI.
Where did you get money? Did you go in my wallet?
I found your PayPal password.
Fuck.
You only took $10? What?
I know. That's all that was left after buying.
That's all he had.
She's only giving away $10.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
There's a new ship that's got to be out. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, maybe. At some point, I was given permission.
What is this?
Hear all that?
Exclamation. Asset relocation.
What do you think is in this box?
Mhm.
Oh,
Concierge
no.
card.
No.
Oh.
Oh, same.
No.
Is that chimeras?
Yes.
Is an SSD.
And he gave yes,
the
and he gave me
Octane.
permission to unbox it and verify that the contents were intact.
Oh,
He
wow.
told me not to show the
Barcode.
code
Serial number.
on screen, so I'll make sure I don't
Probably a
do
good
that,
idea.
But because that shit'll get clipped and then I'll be
Yeah.
in big
Clipped.
trouble.
I got
He
my
can't-
pause. I got my pause button ready to type it in right now.
He can't get to me from Hong Kong, so I actually told him it might be. You never know. It might not. You might get lost in shipping.
Yeah.
So, but
There you go.
maybe we'll pull that out of the box and take a look at it.
Nice.
I bet there's air in that box.
How do
he
people
says.
trust me like this, though?
But
It's
you're
beyond
That's
me.
crazy.
I have no idea.
Because Newegg will not ship to Hong Kong for some reason. I have no idea why they won't ship to Hong Kong. And this is not the first time that people have had their products sent to me so I can reship them to them. It's very odd. I mean,
Yeah.
do I look trustworthy to you? Like, really?
Nope.
Not really.
Not really.
Oh, well,
Anyways.
I trust you.
roll the dice.
It's a roll of the dice, yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Also, isn't Newegg owned by a Chinese company now?
And the Chinese don't do business with Hong Kong for some reason. He
They
couldn't
don't.
get fucking CIG merchandise
Oh, like-
shipped from
yeah,
China to Hong
that's
Kong.
funny.
He had it shipped from China to America to Hong Kong because they wouldn't fucking ship it to Hong Kong. And it borders.
It's all politics.
Yes, politics.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Politics.
So can
Right,
we
we're
go
outta
to
here.
music now?
What?
Yep.
Yes.
Support to participate in the waffle! Exclamation asset relocation.
Ass relocation?
No.
Asset.
Well, we know you.
I.e.
can-
Overwatch,
Bro.
the Overwatch organization and their asset relocation program.
Relocation.
Right.
Get it?
Yep. Recruiting affiliates now.
That's right.
Time for
That's
beer.
right.
Hi, welcome back to the Star Citizen Base Roundtable. Here on
He
the
almost
Base
forgot where he
Radio.
was.
Just looking around. Where am I?
Where am I? Is this live? Are we live?
Is
Is
this
this real?
It's Memorex.
So, is it? You could just continue the conversation you were having while we were on a music break. Actually, I don't really care.
I really
That's
want to hear
expendable.
more about yoga and Eden.
Oh,
I was at acro yoga earlier today. Learn about the basic fundamentals of acro yoga, about basing, flying, and how do you be a spotter properly. But other than that, yeah.
Cool.
Maybe there's acro yoga and Star Citizen one day.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you think they'll have space yoga? And if so, will it be effective? Because you could do 0G and cheat.
Do you still engage your muscles the same way? I don't know.
Probably
That would be
not.
kind of cheating.
Yeah.
Will your
mean-
muscles atrophy in space?
Well, you will if you don't exercise in real life.
Oh yeah, if you're not in gravity.
I mean, how real is Star Citizen going to be where you're like, if you're in the spaceship too much, maybe you lose stamina and
Yeah,
muscle
maybe.
mass?
Probably not, but because that's not fun.
Hopefully not. I don't need to worry about my character losing like stamina or muscle atrophies from being space traveling.
But I do hope they have yoga pants when they have the model. Just saying. Yoga pants are God's gift to the earth right now. So they just need them spread throughout the verse as well. Just think about it for a little while. Yeah.
I know,
Well,
we're all
damn
at-
it. Because I'm fucking with something right now and it ain't working. It's
Yeah, I
pissing me
see.
off.
He's
So,
really focused on
there-
something.
There was something really cool in ATV, and I'm not talking about, how many bugs they have left for anything. I don't really care. But quantum drive.
Really
It depends
Yeah.
on who you ask.
Yeah,
I would say we talked a little bit about this the other night too. Quantum Drive, it looks amazing. I am 100% down with the effect, all that stuff. Was it the appropriate time to do it? I don't know. I guess who am I to judge? I don't think it's high
For
priority,
3.0?
but yeah. Yeah, for 3.0.
For
I'm like,
3.0. It's going to be distances to travel. It's
I mean, but again, it's really more at this point, we don't know, it might have gameplay relevancy when they add interdiction in, but I was a little surprised they touched it before they messed with interdiction. I figured like any of those changes would come in with interdiction stuff and everything else, because right now it's just really more of an aesthetic thing, right? For what the changes they did. It's what Chris wants, but it's aesthetic. It's like, oh, we want to ramp up, hit 88 miles an hour and then go. That's awesome, but okay. Do you need it? I think it looks cool.
you need it for the distance. So if you're going to stick with the old system, it would, if they were to stick with that, it would take you hours to cross the solar system instead of minutes. So they're,
well,
but wasn't
That's-
the thing
that's
they
just the value
explained,
they can change.
Yeah, they could have changed the value. They just wanted the aesthetic, the ramp up and go. They could be. Chris didn't want linear. He didn't want you to just go boom and be there at a certain
No.
set rate.
But also, you wanted it to be, dependent on a lot of different factors, so that it could be modularly adjusted to the surroundings, whatever the system has. I don't know. I'm going to say there's interference in this system, or whatever. There's some. You're going through some sort of dust. I mean, I think an influence that they can do that with this new system.
I wish Chris would have done it half-ass. That's what you're saying, right?
What?
No, I just saying I don't want him to do it right now. But I mean, I don't.
Yeah,
he's already done it, so I don't care. I mean, awesome.
Well, they need it for the ability to go higher than 0.2 in speed.
Yeah, you
So
mean like
they would have to make a system.
They need the beautiful bloom all over the front of it with this fairy dust on it and all that. They needed that to get over there. Oh no, I don't know. I'm just saying.
They stole. Remember what they said? They stole that from the engine outtake already. So it's not like. I'm pretty sure the explanation and the video making of the video took longer than actual making the.
I agree, because most games already do that, right? Like in Eve or Elite Dangerous or all these, they kind of have you align, you ramp up, you queue up your drive, you spool it, and then you go and you do your thing. They're already kind of doing that. It just starts.
The new thing here is that the distance you travel determines how fast you're traveling, because it takes time to spool up to max speed, and then when you hit your max speed, you stay at that plateau until you have to break down again or to reduce speed again. So it's
absolutely, because I think they said they didn't want you to travel to the moon in like 1 second, but it'd take only 8 minutes to get across the whole galaxy. They wanted it to be where maybe it takes 8 minutes or 5 minutes to get to the moon, and then only 20 minutes, so it's not a linear progression to get to every distance, or it wouldn't be fun. So
sure, it's the first workings of some sort of game balancing in that regard.
Absolutely.
So, and you'll see more of that shit.
So that when they're first doing it, why not do it the way it's intended to and not waste time?
When they were first doing it, they would have done it that way in the first place, but this is the first time they're doing it, and that's the complaint that you see across the board, on Star Citizen
so many
Facebook
times
pages
they're
and
gonna
all this
iterate
other
them.
shit.
And the
it
next
makes
time
no difference.
The next time they do it will be the first time they did it that way. So then we all do. So every time's the first time with anything Star Citizen.
But you got to go back to something that Jared said a long time ago was one of the things that he likes the most about working at CIG is that they're not afraid to go with a better idea or even look for a better idea. So, and you can. People say, if Chris Roberts wasn't so particular or blah, 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 whatever, then we would already have some sort of playable game. No, you fucking wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. And let me ask you this. Would you rather have
it wouldn't be
Chris
Star
Roberts?
Citizen.
Right. Would you rather have Chris Roberts' vision for what the game is going to be? Or would you rather have fucking some EA clone or Mass Effect Andromeda? Not that it was an overall bad game, just the fact that it was rushed and fucking shit was completely broken when it first released, I would rather.
You'd have Elite Dangerous. That's what you'd have.
Yeah. Where they're just building it backwards of what Star Citizen is.
Opposite.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not a bad game.
Opposite.
It's not really the game for me, Elite Dangerous isn't. I don't think it's bad. But they built the airway. They delivered what they had, and they're just tacking on to it at the end. But that also means DLC, which, in this game, literally, it's still, how much time do we all have to spend with new people telling them you only have to pay $45 or $60? You don't have to buy thousands of dollars of spaceships. You don't have to do all that. And you get access to all this during the entire ride of it being built. You don't have to buy all this other crap. If you don't,
that's because there's idiots like me that will buy it all.
And me.
There's idiots like my boy Chimera that will buy a fucking hard drive for a fucking ship code because he told me, if you give me $50 for the drive and give me the code, I'll be good.
There you go.
Which I'm not going to do, obviously, but he just did it for the ship.
We just crossed in the Space Bro community spending, was it $22,000 now into the game, I think, is what we have been so far. And I only own 5 ships. The rest of it's all been giveaways and other things, and it's all the metric we built is to support the game. You know, you put the money into the game to help pledge. We hook up hopefully new people and existing users with spaceships and awesome stuff, just like what you guys are doing with the gift card giveaway going on right now. It's an awesome metric if you believe and love the game. By doing the giveaways, nobody should hate on anybody doing giveaways for this, because you're helping support the game being built, no matter if it's a piece of hanger flare or if it's, you know, a $600 spaceship. You're helping.
Well, sure, it's money in the bank.
Absolutely. Yep. So the more money they have, the more they can do. And anybody who talks about how long the game's going to be, I don't care if they ever release it, to be honest. I know people are always like, oh, wait a minute, you can't say that. I really don't. As long as they have playable content the whole way there, who cares? I mean, they just released Ark, right? They just released Ark this year.
Oh, boy.
I quit playing Ark way back when. I had over 1,000 hours.
A while ago.
So, and I feel like Star System for some people will be the same thing. Some people will only play it up to and maybe through beta, and maybe never play it again. Their experience with Star Citizen might be the experience they have right now. And then whatever afterwards, you know. But a lot of people buy the game for what they hope it will be. I say buy the game for what you see right now. Don't invest a lot of money into it unless you want to support it. But buy it to play it now, and you won't be nearly as salty. I'm just saying. So that's just my advice.
Oh, for certain individuals. Yeah, it just depends on the individual and their expectation, you know. And there's a lot of high expectations for what it should be today, even though it really isn't even an alpha per se.
No.
If you look at the way that game companies classify things, it's still a playable tech demo that they're building tools to build. So, but you know, we've talked about that aspect dozens of times.
Yep.
The game will never be finished as long as there's funding. They will always be. You look at World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft was fucking finished years ago, and it's not.
No.
And now they're reverting back to vanilla.
Yeah, they just reskin it and put out new stuff with WoW all the time. But with Star Citizen, even after they have like a live release or whatever they call it, because you really can't classify as a release until post beta, after they actually do the final reset of the economy and they go out there with it, they're still going to be adding ships. They're still going to be adding more than likely star systems and everything else. It's still going to grow. It's still going to keep going that way. And as long as people are interested in the genre and the game, there's no reason to stop it that I can see.
Yeah, I mean, there will be a day that Chris steps away from Star Citizen, but it will keep going. It will keep being developed. It won't end.
Yep.
Because
I don't know. I kind of highly doubt it. I think this is his deal. I think this is his swan song.
Well, I agree, but
he's old like me.
Well,
think about that.
Think of all the fucks that still is producing movies into their 80s in Hollywood. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. But after you go 80, 90 years, I mean, I could see this game outliving a lot of the other games, you know, because there's people I know that, and you guys know too, that are like early 20s coming into the game. They love it. They've gone back, played Wing Commander. They believe in the genre and stuff. There will be people to pick up the mantle for the franchise. Yep. Like Eden.
Well, if you think about this, right? Absolutely. If you think about this game would have been called like Wing Commander Succession or something of that nature had it not been for EA telling Chris to go fuck himself.
Wing Commander Online. It would have.
It would have been something, and then we would have had Wing Commander 5, the movie, all done in this crazy. Look at behind me. I mean, come on. That's a fucking movie asset sitting right there.
Yep.
And when you don't have the limitation of net traffic and shit like that, and you're just developing, look at Big Ships of the UE or any of these trailers that they've done. That shit's pretty fucking close to movie quality. So they could seriously run that route.
There will
especially
be a
with the likes of fucking Mark Hamill and fucking Gary Oldman and shit, considering they're still alive when this game actually gets completed. Well, I might not even be alive. Who knows? You know?
But there will be a Star Citizen film. I'm pretty sure Chris is going to do one.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I believe probably he would want to get through the trilogy of the Squadron 42, whatever the second part he's going to call it, and the third part and stuff. And then I would see, you know, if you get a fan following from a trilogy of games, you're going to end up doing a movie. It's just
Sure.
I mean, Assassin's.
Yeah.
We were talking about before. Assassin's Creed's done it. Everything that makes it to a trilogy of games that remains in some type of popularity makes a movie, be it animated or real life or something. But there'll be a movie for sure.
You didn't think of it as StarCraft, really, like how they released the separate campaigns as an expansion.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know.
Yeah.
Did you think they would ask, or they would charge money for every Squadron 42 chapter?
Yes.
They're
I
going
do.
to. Yeah.
Yes.
Even if you already have
Yes.
the base
Yep.
package with it,
Yeah.
does that only
Yep.
counts for the first?
We only get
counts
the
for
first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
First one only, and then the other ones are going to be additional.
But it's going to be so fucking good, and you're already buying
Oh, yeah.
so much ships and all this shit that $45 for a DLC to play the next.
Yeah.
Uh,
I blow $500 a year easy in games that I probably play for less than 10 hours. Right. So I mean, to be right, it's like,
You're
oh, you
like
think it's
most
gonna be
gamers.
awesome? Yeah, this is gonna be awesome, and this is crap. You know?
Yeah, but you know what the best part is by the time you figure it out, you've already breached the 2-hour refund limit on Steam,
Yeah.
and you're
Oh, that's
fucked.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you play 2 hours and you're like, okay, 3 hours, 4 hours, and you're like, wow, this sucks. And then you're like, nope, sorry, we can't help you.
That was me in god, what was that game? That melee combat. Oh, the Ubisoft
For Honor?
was I fucking hated that. I'm like, why did I buy this?
I enjoyed it for about a month, off and on, because I kind of parse it. I only let myself play 2 or 3 hours a game at a time. I don't grind them anymore, or run out of stream content. Because if I grind, I watch some streamers do it for 8 to 10 hours, and then they're just like, they're burnt, they're done. They're just like, yeah, I can't play this. Games like Star Citizen, though, or games like EVE Online, or some of these other ones that are MMOs that you get into the universe, you can play for days and days and days repetitiously, and you don't get tired because there's new shit happening in the game every time you log in, because it's its own soap opera. It's its own drama of what's happening, even if you don't RP.
What's going to be nice for streamers, particularly, is that a lot of the content is going to be player-driven content.
Yes.
It's not going to be scripted stuff, so you will be able to share and interact with your community at a different level based on those games, because there's going to be shit that you were just like, never saw it coming, never thought it was going to happen. You've never been there before. There's a new set of circumstances, all this stuff, all because players are fucking psychotic and they just do crazy shit.
Yeah.
You could be like, wow.
How many hours do you think each of you have in playing the alpha of Star Citizen?
Couple hundred.
Yeah,
Several.
200 or 300 hours.
3,
Yeah.
4, yeah.
I have over 2,200 hours streamed of Star Citizen. Just
Holy
Oh,
Christ.
Wow.
So I play a lot of Star Citizen.
Much respect to you, sir, because I don't know how you and other
every nook
Star
and cranny
Citizen
of the-
streamers do it every day. It's just
The secret is it's the chat. It's your
Oh, yeah.
guys. You're interacting with them, because I could spend 8 hours talking just like to you guys about the game, and we might be playing it, but I'm on autopilot most of the time in the game. I'm sitting here talking about it, doing that thing.
Yeah, that's
And
probably
that's
when
what it's
you.
going to be like when the game's live, right? Because you're going to have your crew, your buddies, and all that stuff. That's what makes you play it for hours.
That's probably the next
Yeah.
level of streaming, really, though. If you talk about that type of adventure, career you want to go to, at some point you no longer see the game solely as the entertainment for the fans, but really just the fact that you can interact with them, and that
Yep.
the game is just a little side
Yep.
adventure
But-
that you can do.
That's something I've been doing since even when I played Eve. I remember being up 72 hours on gate camps. Most boring thing you could possibly do.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
sitting there in space, holding back an enemy, making sure they can't get any of their assets through as they're trying to escape an invading system that another group of us are invading, with 250 individual pilots just sitting there. And the Germans would go to bed, the Aussies would come online, I'd go take a 6-hour nap, get right back up like it was a freaking job, and just do it. And we loved it. It was like, we loved it. It was just amazing, because it was the people. If you were doing that by yourself, all these people that talk about playing Star Citizen by themselves, I appreciate the fact that they want to do that. But the first time they get a real crew experience with other people, I think they'll kind of go, that was cool, but this is really the shit here. This is awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And that's what broke the alpha for most of us is the
Yeah,
the
multi-crew.
fizzling of the party system.
Parties,
Absolutely.
yeah.
When we
Biggest-
couldn't get
biggest
in the
thing has
same
been good.
instance anymore, we just stopped doing it, and we flooded Star Marine for the longest time. But there's only so many FPS matches that you could fucking take before you're like, all right, I got to find something else to do.
And I think that might be that's not something that's totally lost on CIG. They realize that, but I think it's something they do need to make sure they prioritize more in the future if we have a reoccurrence of the party systems falling apart, because supposedly they revamped it for 3.0. So suppose we have all that.
Oh, and if we get 60 people,
yeah. Oh my
oh
god.
man,
Well, I mean,
At 30 FPS.
I'm not under NDA or anything, but I've also heard they're testing 80 plus big ships too over the weekend too. So there's a lot of tests. So 60 seems a very solid, probable number at this point. It's not like when they tested 42 when 2.0 dropped, right? They're like, oh, let's
And
try
it
42.
crashed.
Oh, never mind. Let's go back. No.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
real
yeah,
quick.
yeah.
So I think
No.
60 is
Well-
a real deal. And
And what's funny is like we had Super Mac Brother on last week,
mhm.
and we were discussing
He's
the
awesome.
technologies. He is a fucking super
I
nice
met him.
guy. I
Yeah,
was
he was
so
out there too. I
surprised.
met him. I didn't recognize him though when he got shaved. I didn't. If I would watch the stream when he got lost on beer, I was like, "Who's this kid?"
I don't think he recognized himself when he
Oh,
was on our
funny.
stream because he was clean shaven. But
Gamble was pretty bad, but Super Mac, different individual. It's like he went into stereostasis or what they call it in the humans. Like he came out a different person. Like, what is this guy?
he has been assimilated to the Matrix.
Yeah.
But he had no idea about a lot of the technology surrounding things like the zoning system.
Yeah.
You know, and we talk about netcode and all this stuff. That's
Absolutely.
only one little facet of getting thousands and thousands and thousands of players in a contiguous environment. So that when the zoning system, which I guarantee that somebody's fucking working on it hard, is already technology that exists in other games. When it comes to Star Citizen, that the doors just fucking get knocked down and the shit blows wide open.
Absolutely. Well, you see the infancy of it now in 2.63, right? Because that's the reason we have an issue of like if you're inside or back end of a freelancer and I try to shoot you, the bullets don't go into the back, right? If I'm outside of it. So there is a zoning element there. What they're doing though now is they revamp the zoning system to actually work to where those bullets will track and travel through one zone to another instead of like what you see now where people in the beginning in 2.0 were disappearing when they walked in their cutlass or walk out. It's like, woo, here he is. So now
But the limitation of the zoning system as is now is that each zone is not attached to a virtual server.
That's correct.
That's when the cost ramps up. But I think this is where the agreement with Amazon or the deal with Amazon is that there's going to be very little server cost. I'm assuming compared to what it would have been without the deal.
Well, and it should automatically build and tear down those servers as needed, reinforcement nodes.
Yeah, but that's the point. That so when you talk about 60 players, you are talking about 60 players in one zone on
Correct.
one
On
virtual
grid.
server.
On grid,
Right.
visual range. Yep.
So that means that you can have another zone where you can see into and interact with, but you don't get all the details like you would of all the things that is in your current zone.
Absolutely.
Because you're now looking into a separate virtual server.
Star Citizen is going to sell so many Intel fucking Optane drives and so many licensed agreements with Lumberyard.
Yeah.
Everybody that
Selling
owns
their tech.
anything that has to do with anybody that has anything to do with gaming industry in general is going to want to do business with this company, which is great. Exactly. It's all going to be dollars. It's going to be great for us because, quite honestly, I'm done with games. This is it. This is where it's at.
And that was my life with Eve for a long time when I was heavy into that. There you go. So Star Citizen's going to be even worse. It's going to be even worse. I know. It's like, hey guys, sorry, I need somebody to take control of the Idris real quick because I got to go take a break to go get the kids from school. I know that's what it's going to be. It's like real life. I'll schedule around my Captain and Fleet F scene around real life. It's like, oh, got to go cook dinner, guys. I'll be back in 6 hours. See you then. We'll go ahead and run this op then. And then, it's going to be like that. is. It's going to be all.
Yeah, well, I'm not 20 years anymore, so I'm not going to be able to do those 72-hour stints and shit. It's just
I don't know about 72
You're going to catch me like
anymore,
this.
but yeah.
Jutao. Jutao. What?
Yeah.
What?
Ship's on fire.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Put that fucking fuse back in. I don't know what's going on.
Whole breach. Just wake up, you're floating in space.
Exactly. Your boys vented you because you were sleeping.
There you go. Oh, man, the trolls are going to be hard with that.
And Jay Lee wants an Intel as well. He wants to be sponsored.
Yeah, I got a question for Jay Lee. Jay Lee, where's the Amazon lumber truck that's going to go on the things? Because I'm waiting for they're going to, I can see it, like a lumber truck, for ground construction and stuff
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it'd be lumberyard. Sponsored. It'd be perfect. Perfect.
That makes a really good outpost branding. The lumberyard. Shit.
People were asking because on the Pioneer it can only build single story outposts, but there is such thing as like 2-story supposedly from what the devs were telling us and things of that nature. But you'll only be able to build these single story units. I told people I picture maybe the outpost would be able to you build it down and it'd be almost like if you think about the old RTS games like Command and Conquer. Maybe that's your home base. Maybe you could build and import construction units, and then you could actually build other structures later down the road, like villages or something. So you have to have an established outpost. Then you build a village or a town or something later on. I could see all that, but that's your first footprint on that territory. Because 8 kilometers is really big for a single outpost. 4 to 8 kilometers is the territory size unit for one outpost for a claim. And it doesn't allow anyone else to build any structures in that zone.
Well, who the hell was talking about that? Wasn't that in the happy hour game dev this week that they were talking about that, building villages of sorts? I
didn't get to see all that. I know everything from CitizenCon itself was like when they were talking about the territory size. They said between 4 and 8 kilometers. Nobody else could build there unless they take over the territory.
In UEE space. In UEE space.
But there should be the same claim hold in non-UEE space. But you could just destroy it. You won't have to rent it from somebody.
I don't think there's going to be this grid is now taken. It's going to be somebody has built on my land. Let's go kill them. That's going to be the only grid control outside UEE space.
Well, yes and no, because you have different. Let's take the star map into consideration here. You have UEE claim space. You have Banu claim space. You're going to have faction controlled space. You're going to have unclaimed space. You're going to have all these different things depending on where you're going. So if you want to set up in a pirate controlled area, you will most likely have to make arrangements with the pirate organization, have good reputation and all this shit like we were talking about before for them to even want to talk to you, to take your credits, to allow you to build on their fucking planet.
Yeah. Villages and towns are later, according to Jay Lee in chat. That's awesome.
Jay Lee doesn't know.
Oh, you'd be surprised what Jay Lee may or may not
doesn't know.
He just draws the pictures. That's all he
does.
He just draws the pictures.
And he's
pictures. He's told me that several times. I'm just a simple concept artist. I'm just a simple concept artist.
Yep.
I know nothing.
No, but they're going to have even in claimable areas where you just kind of lay down. I just feel like they're going to have some sort of mechanic, however they explain it, that's not going to allow you to build there without wiping off the other person because they have too much area to fill. And some orgs would put down like 50 outposts right around each other to make a circle if you could do that in an unclaimed area and then put defense turrets. And I think the balance of that is to like make it, whether you explain it like the ship can't lay it down so close because of some metric, or use artificial like atmospherics the same way you can't fly ships in certain areas until you destroy things.
I think if you get land, let's say it's 4x4, it's 16 square kilometers. You can build all over that land wherever you want. There's not one base you can build. You can
only build one outpost there. Is their current plan. According to Tony Zervik, I asked him.
Yeah.
One outpost. You can attach to it and build out. But that's what I'm saying. It's huge. And if you're a hostile or somebody to that organ, you can come on the land, And you can mine there. You can steal the resources. You just can't build a structure on it. Is their current plan. I'm not saying it won't change.
You need to build a structure to mine. That's
You don't have
also a
to.
structure.
No. You don't have to have a structure on anywhere to mine, but you can build a structure that way. You can have a processor. You can do different things. You can have defense turrets. And defense turrets you can't build. You have to purchase and add on to your base. They're only NPC available. So you only can build the physical, actual outpost. And that's it. Everything else is an add-on that's purchased by you to NPCs, like what they originally were going to do with Outpost. But you can buy different types of modules. Like there's like a refinery type thing that pumps actual resources over time from the ground, and you can come back and mitigate that. Like almost like an oil well, except it's a different type of harvesting unit. And that way you'd have to have somebody come by and maintain. Plus, you have to maintain the outposts, because if you just seed them down all over the galaxy, they do degradate, just like your ships, just like your weapons, just like everything else in the game as well. So those people that think I'm going to play solo and put 50 outposts across the galaxy, you
can't maintain those, no.
Yeah, you can try. It'd be fun to watch. So, but yeah, that's their current plan, though, I don't know about the territory lock on unclaimed areas yet, but I know that's their plan, at least on those areas, is people could come in and raid your area and take the resources and go off there. That's up to you to defend it, but they will get criminality in UE space for doing it because they're violating your territory claim, much like a mining claim owned by a country. If it's unclaimed area, then that's all on you. You have to do it. But I think the limitation is they don't want to build consecutive outposts right by each other because they don't want you to make a city or a fort, because eventually they're going to offer villages, towns, those type of things. So you can only have the connecting units of what you're building for there. And
but at what point is later before the game is launched? Then at this point, it's mute, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they could change their mind at any time. They could have flew home and said, hey, let's change all this shit up. But that's just what Tony told me there.
It'll be an evolutionary process like everything else in this game, but according to their standards today. So we should go to music break and get ready to maybe not be so salty in the salt block, because I don't really have any at this point in time. Other than I want to comment on Jay Lee said you could do a lot in design, but there will always be consequences upheld by other players of the UEE, depending on where you purchased or acquired. The landmine, from what I know, but hey, I know nothing. I just draw stuffs. Okay. My question for you, Mr. Lee, is did you talk to Ortwin before you came into this chat and started dropping knowledge?
He knows nothing.
Just saying.
I'm gonna call on
which
you.
I'm gonna have to get with Ortwin and ask him if it's okay for you to come back on the stream, because I miss your pooping animation.
Tattletale.
No. I'd like to get his permission to get Jay Lee to come hang out with us again.
I have to send him an email. So I already asked Jay Lee. He said he'll be happy to be on our show. I just have to get the green light.
He's got to get permits now.
Yeah, it's been like that.
Yeah, it's been
before.
Like
he's got to get He's got to get his land claim approved by the UEE.
Yeah, I've heard that they've recently installed a gag order on a lot of shows. Did you see what happened with Nikki?
Yeah,
and Ben Wednesday.
Yep.
So
and that's I'm gonna hit on that.
That could be something for next
come back.
Actually,
next block.
Yeah. So anyway, if you do have there's a last thing I want to say. If you do have questions, and remember to just ask them with questions and question and square brackets followed by the question. It goes. It's like that on every Twitch channel. But the bot can explain it for you very well. That's time for music break. We'll be right back
questions.
Here. Well, yeah.
We've been so informative, we have left no room for questions.
Hey, welcome back to the roundtable here on the Base Radio. Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Star Citizens Fox News channel.
Should I just kick him from
I feel like there's a bait switch going on. What just happened?
So for the third block, we're going to discuss global geopolitics.
Well, it was a great show, guys.
UEE politics.
Yeah.
UEE politics.
See you next week.
I'll talk in-game politics any day. But
How long before the Imperator makes a resurgence in Star Citizen?
Like Messer 2.0.
And he does away with the Senate. Well, when it's going to be like whatever Star Wars episode that was that episode 3?
Order 66.
When they dissolved the Senate? Yeah.
What's that
Yeah.
Elon
Yeah,
Musk's name? Elon Musk character called
He's
again?
going to be the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
the guy
He'll
for
be the guy.
Consolidated Outland, what's his name?
Yeah, they're gonna personalize terraforming, like in the Pioneer trailer where he said, something about terraforming, and the crowd was like, "Oh," and he's like, "Hold on, we haven't gotten it to that level yet."
The one thing I found in Germany too is like people that don't speak English well, which a lot of Germans do, but everybody I ran into from their country, when they do their impersonation of an American, they're automatically a cowboy. They have a Southern drawl accent, and that's what they're all about. And I was like, and then when the Elon Musk character guy, I can't whatever his name is from Consolidated Outland comes on, and then he's got that twang to, I'm like, oh,
Silas.
it's like they're just going the stereotype. Here's the stereotype stuff.
To everyone outside the country, we're all fucking rednecks or something,
We are. That's okay. I just embrace it. Embrace it, brother. Feel it.
Yeah, bro.
Oh, really?
Whoever it was that did that voiceover, they said it was a famous actor. Somebody that you would know was trying so hard to pull off a Matthew McConaughey.
Yep.
Like really trying to pull a Matthew
He was
McConaughey.
pretty good.
Pretty close, dude.
Pretty
I
good.
thought it was. Yeah. So
But the
okay with
voice
that.
wasn't the same as McConaughey's. Like the tone and
Well, it's
in
not
terms of the
supposed
Right.
to be the same, though. It's just, yeah.
but it was close. So we got two things going on, right? We got
what's
a
going on?
$10 RSI gift card, and then we were
Yes.
talking during the break about something that Mitauchi actually had some sort of brain cell explosion, came up with this great idea. I could
Yeah.
see like sparks in his eyes and shit. It was crazy.
Well, when Eden was saying we only had a few questions, it was like, hey, why don't we have Eden choose the best question, and whoever has the best question out, everybody gets a piece of hanger flare. So get to asking you questions quickly.
Ask your fucking questions.
Yeah, if you want to be in the mix,
So
you got to do
wait.
it.
She decides.
She decides. She has
I
all
have
the
the
power.
power.
That's right.
Are you really eating chips on stream?
What's
Oh.
wrong with that?
My God.
He always does that.
You're seeing all these leftover bags. They're all half empty, and I'm like,
You haven't
Well,
noticed he does that every
You
week.
kind
Yeah.
of talk like this when you're got chips in your mouth and shit.
It's okay. We needed balance. Eden's doing yoga in the window below, and then he's eating chips. We have balance for us across everyone.
Oh, you
I had Doritos
don't
earlier,
even,
but they're
before she got that chair, she used to sit on a damn yoga ball.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think I fell off
And then
Yeah.
during the break,
Fell
she'd
over
like
one.
be
Well,
laying
she
on it
didn't-
like all
She didn't
weird
try
and
to
shit.
change a light bulb with the yoga ball, did she? Because that's
No.
like super skill.
No.
She's training.
But I have the mute button ready, so.
That would have been a good one though. So, okay. Technically it's a salt block, but it's not salt. Let's have a little roundtable discussion about the announcement that I don't even know what to call it because I didn't read the official announcement, but we were talking about how Ben's Day is no longer a thing. And why?
CIG
Well,
and
it is the thing,
personnel
though.
are no longer allowed to, to make.
Exactly. You see what I'm saying? Yes. Yes. This shit's all stuck to the roof of his
Stuck in his it's,
Drink some water,
they're no longer
man!
We're
They're no longer
professional
allowed to-
loop in this bitch.
to make deals with streamers to do recurring shows. So they can. I mean, they can do one-time appearances, but the pretty much the recurring show thing that some streamer might have a CIG guy on his show every week cannot be done anymore. That's pretty much just off the table for their entire company.
Which
Okay.
Nikki's was like the only one, I think.
Yeah.
So I think. So
I think some other, and this is just my presumption. I have no information related to the subject. I think some other people cried about it.
Okay.
Well,
So
it's not only that. It's also that's the whole they're growing bigger and bigger and bigger as a company, and they have been showing a lot of love to a specific part of the streaming community, specifically test, etc. So they're going away from that whole aspect as well. So I think it's going to be there's still going to be the same people with the same affinity is going to run the show. So it's still going to be towards certain streamers, but they're trying to broaden their horizon and show a little bit more love all around.
In regards to Nikki's, the old Ben's Day, it's going to turn into something else. She's going to be working with their PR guy. Oh, who was it? I know I should know the names.
David Swafford? Is that
Yes.
David Swafford.
Yeah.
And so she'll have regular guests from CIG, and it'll just rotate through. I don't know what the schedule will be like, but she'll actually gain access to a bigger
That's
part
probably
of
cool,
CIG.
yeah.
And
Okay.
Ben, Nikki explained that Ben is great for talking about ships, but there's a lot of other things that are going on in CIG that she can't ask Ben because Ben has no insight to that particular area or say.
All right,
So-
I'm gonna make a couple points here, and you guys are gonna tell me what you think about this shit, right? In my
I'm holding
opinion,
your
it's all dollars and cents. It's all dollars and cents. And for the longest time, it could appear that CIG is financially picking winners and losers in the gaming community, i.e., there's streamers that they consistently pick the same set of streamers to go to their events, right? They build communities around these people, and that directly translates into dollar bills for that individual. Do you think that Meyer's
Favorite
channel has
children's.
not grown, therefore his income has not grown based on the favor that he has been shown? DJ Knight, and I got nothing against these streamers, right? They're doing great for the community. They are what fucking propagates this game even more so than CIG's marketing. It's us, it's Mitauchi, it's Montoya, it's fucking everybody that's involved in this whole PR blitz that CIG didn't even have to invest any money into. We just fucking took it upon ourselves to propagate the game. So, but the point is all of these streamers get revenue from being put out in the front like that. And the same thing applies to Star Citizen Addicts Anonymous and Nikki, especially considering what you just said. If Nikki has access to David Swafford and every other fucking YouTuber that wants to do YouTube content based around Star Citizen doesn't have access to David Swafford, and they continue to show favoritism towards channels like Nikki's channel, there's a lawsuit fucking coming.
You think?
There's a class action lawsuit coming, dude. Are you kidding? You're talking about dollars. I don't give a fuck what it is. Some crazy trial lawyer somewhere will see an opportunity to fucking suck money out of the bank because you're picking and choosing winners and losers.
Who says they can't do that?
Nothing says they can't do that.
Right.
I don't know what the fucking current climate in the business law is. I'm just saying.
But you
Class
want
action lawsuits happen all day long. Okay, let me put it to you this
America
way.
loves lawsuits, right?
America
The thing is,
loves fucking lawsuits.
My thing is does CIG want to send their representative to any random streamer or YouTuber? Because I've seen what happened on some other streams where you have a guest on, and the next day they're on the game.
I'm not saying random. This requires a whole new level of right?
Right.
Ben stuck with Nikki because generally speaking, Nikki stays balanced. She has her criticisms, but she
Board gamer.
points the game into a positive light, right?
Speaking of YouTubers,
He just hosted it.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's dangerous territory when you start talking about money, because generally speaking, at everybody's core, when you're doing, I don't know, Mitauchi's doing it for money. If he's doing it for the prostitutes and the cocaine, I don't really know why he's doing it, but when it comes down
Make
to
more
it,
money.
it's money, right?
Yep.
Would it not benefit your channel if CIG had you at
on anything,
the holiday
Yeah.
live stream, right? And you would gain subs and viewers and all this
course.
other stuff. Financially
Exposure.
would be a net gain, right? And they've been systematically sticking with the same small group of people. And you see what happens
Mhm.
when they don't stick with the same people, i.e., Baron and WTF. Because Baron and WTF were a part of that thing for a little bit, and I don't know what happened there. I don't want to speculate if there was conflict or something.
I don't know if I can talk about any of this stuff. I think I'll just abstain from this entire part of the conversation.
Right, because I have no stake in the game. Because you know how much I get paid to do this? Nothing.
Yeah,
this is a net negative for me because every fucking month this shit costs me money. But it's just me on the outside looking at it from a neutral perspective. You know, when WTF didn't get invited to Gamescom, he lost his fucking mind. He literally shit the bed. Mitauchi, you could smile all you want. You don't have to comment. See, no one else has anything to fucking say because they know it's true.
Because you haven't stopped talking.
Well, because am I okay? You have the floor.
Did you guys see I got a Coke bottle at TwitchCon with my name on it? It was pretty awesome.
Oh my God, shut up.
Amazing.
What?
Oh,
This is my big thing. It was cool. I was like, I drank it. And everybody's like, oh, you drank it? I'm like, yeah, it's fucking Coke. It's like, it's Coke.
But
it was good, man.
Yeah.
I think they are switching politics basically and spreading the love a little bit. We'll see.
Right, that's what I was gonna say. Spreading the love. But I mean, it's not all about money because I think Nikki would be happy to come on here and tell you she doesn't make shit from her YouTube channel. I mean, she does it, you know, out of love for the game. She doesn't get any money back from doing Ben's Day. But
what I can say real quick is, you know, for those, a lot of people have other jobs and they do all this stuff and they do this, you know, just out of the joy of wanting to stream, want to communicate with the community, want to get their opinions across, whatever reason. And everybody knows I don't make a ton of money doing this, but the money I do make helps me do what I want to do, right? It does help me do giveaways. It does help me buy things for the channel and all those things. And on top of that, it helps me do stuff for my kids. But with other people working their full-time job, a lot of them still, any money they generate from streaming or making YouTube videos and stuff, that's the money they put back into the content for their community. They don't take money from their other things to do that. They try to balance it. So at some level, money is important to everybody just to continue to do what they love to do, even if it's just a passion project. So that's the whole thing. Not everybody.
Yeah, but what the end user does with their money is irrelevant to the argument.
Yeah.
So this is the message for CIG. Spread the fucking love.
Well, and I don't understand. I don't know the mindset behind and they're not going to tell us why they made this decision. That's obvious. So it's all fucking speculation and it's just me talking shit. But when I've seen so many everything gets torn up by money, right? You can have the best relationship with your family. And when somebody in your family dies that has a bunch of money, the whole family just fucking shreds itself. And it's no different with this community, you know, because to be cheesy, it is a family of sorts, right? And people will just start fucking killing each other for fucking, you know, 2 views on a fucking Twitch stream.
We're all brothers until the guns come out in beta. Then it's gonna get all salty, I'm sure. But no, I do think that a lot of the things that have formed up in the infancy of, like, as far as CIG dealing with content creators is who they've met, who they've developed personal relationships with, and now they're just trying to turn those to professional relationships with a wider group of people. And I do agree with that. I don't think the favoritism was anything nefarious or anything like that. I think it's like Nikki and Ben know each other outside of like all this other stuff too.
Absolutely.
And just like certain people like Baron and Disco are tight. They used to do content creation on a regular basis. And they knew each other outside before he did that. And that's how you see a lot of B&G guys were involved with the Star Citizen project too. And I think it's not because they're like, oh, we just want these B&G guys and we don't want everybody else. F those guys. I think it's you deal with who you're comfortable with. You deal with who you know personally is going to back up your job. Because when Disco brought somebody on or suggest somebody or one of the other people, that's their job on the line, right? If you bring in some wild guy who's just some random streamer and he can come in there and drop F-bombs and do everything else when they're on their YouTube podcast, then that's a risk.
So well, from a marketing perspective, it makes sense to always stick with people that you trust that are going to paint your game in a positive light, you know? So
I think it's the
I want to know
3.0 that's changing the way. Well, Eden already has that.
Okay. As long as it's fair and balanced. It is the Fox News of fucking Star Citizen.
There's also a difference in access, but everybody can send an email.
Yeah, I could even send an email. The question is, does you want to respond back? Anyone can send an email.
Well, if they ever watch one of our YouTube playbacks, they will absolutely never send anybody to this fucking show ever. But I mean, this is where honesty happens. So, you know,
I basically think they're trying to sort this out before 3.0 drops, because it's going to open up, as we discussed earlier with Mitauchi, that there's so much gameplay that's going to be available in 3.0 that is going to open up a whole new set of streamers in addition to the old ones going to have a lot of. So they're trying to.
And how long before the big dogs get involved?
Very soon. I've been talking to Burke Black. I know Tangent Gaming will be on. All the guys that pull in, at least on the Twitch side of the ball, that pull in well over 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 people at times. They're going to be back here. They'll all be here. But the thing is, they'll be here through the big releases. But as variety streamers, they'll be here, and they'll also go back over to whatever other genre they play. But the good part in this, and I don't look at it as a negative, because a lot of streamers I've talked to are like, oh my God, they're going to come here and wipe everybody out and all this stuff. They bring new viewers. And people that want to find out more about Star Citizen will watch Star Citizen, even if their favorite streamer isn't streaming it.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to want to check it out, see what's going on content-wise and stuff. So the more exposure we get for the game, the better.
For everybody.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. So I think it's really important to look at it from that aspect. And I just
feel
like...
Are we talking about trickle-down economics here?
A little bit. And that's kind of the way Twitch works, though, right? I mean, if you're watching somebody on Twitch, and I don't know how many of you watch Twitch, and there's a favorite game, like I know Eden got real heavy into PUBG, right? You know, so there's certain games I'll find, and maybe my buddy that I was watching isn't playing it right now. I'll watch somebody else maybe that's playing PUBG from time to time because I'm interested in what's going on with it or something else. And that's how I discovered new streamers and different things, because what they're streaming. And then I'll follow them because I enjoy the individual. It gives that individual the opportunity to get a new viewer. So
most streamers that I have watched have not entertained me personally.
Yeah.
Not really.
There's my wife won't watch it. She only watches YouTube.
Duh.
So.
She's more
I
than
killed
enough of it,
Jaylee
right?
in PUBG.
If he was not happy
at one point or another in PUBG.
No, they were on the same team.
Yeah,
yes.
She's murdered our team.
You were moving to the loot that she wanted.
Do you know
must
how many
die.
times she's killed me?
She liked my backpack and
exactly.
Jaylee.
Level 3 helmet, level 3 backpack. Sorry. That's mine.
You should have heard Jaylee's voice. Like, he stopped talking, and you could feel like the shock and like the.
He was. You could hear the wind whistling out of his open mouth as his shock was like.
How could you?
I don't think I've ever killed Jaylee, have I? I might have run him over.
I mean, being
That's
run
a
over
kill,
kind
though.
of counts.
Well, I mean,
Well, if he doesn't know how to stay out of the road, then that's just Jay Lee's problem.
Is it?
Yeah. Possibly.
All right.
And the road counts as whatever direction the car is facing.
Yeah, I agree though, Relum. The elephant in the room has been addressed, and I overspoke it. So
No,
as
you're
usual.
No,
it's time for a music break so we can ask a fucking question afterwards.
Yeah, this is what I'm gonna say. We're good. I'm gonna go with questions, but what's going on in the chat? We have a $10 gift card giveaway. Is it still running?
Yep.
So
Yep,
the
we have
exclamation
23
mark-
contestants
What?
for the $10 gift card.
23. There's like way fucking more than that of you out
It's
there. What's wrong with you?
151.
Yeah, that they're not entering.
You guys
You
don't.
guys
I'm gonna-
don't want $10? So that's
I mean,
you guys-
this is pretty sweet. One
if
out of
you don't-
23 right now.
I was gonna say, if you don't get at least up to 50, I'll be entering that shit soon because I need to.
Oh,
And if
do
that's
it.
the case,
Stinger
yeah,
flare.
it's open to you too.
Right.
Mitauchi. You're not part of the
So,
crew.
Eden,
Okay.
what do you have to type? Was it ass relocation?
Ass relocation.
Asset relocation. Asset.
Everybody type
Ass
in
location?
exclamation mark asset relocation. Get into the giveaway. Do
Oh,
it.
Meyer's in there asking questions like crazy. I
There we
see that
go.
in the question bot.
And speaking of questions, though, we will do that next. And that was that contest running that whoever had the best question, at least, determined by Eden,
According to Eden.
will win a flare? Hanger flare?
Hanger
thing?
flare. From Mitauchi.
That's right.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So Jay Lee just asked the stupidest question
Ask
because
good
she's going
questions.
to pick you.
Yeah.
So you can win a piece of hanger
Yep.
flare for the game that you already have
Get
everything.
that.
There's a reason I always choose somebody else to choose it. Nobody can come to my channel and yell at me. Why didn't you choose my question? No. Eden chose it.
You're very smart, Mitauchi.
And if you're wondering, like, how do I do that, you can always ask questions, like every time on this show, using the word question and square brackets followed by the question, and it'll get submitted. And we, after this music break that's coming up next, we will actually start off with the beginning of the list that we've gathered. I think I am like I assume that all of those questions will be part of in the contest, right? It's not like only from the point on where you said it.
No, all the questions are in
All
is
of
in the
them.
test.
Okay, cool. Well, then stay tuned, and we'll be back with all that. Welcome back to the Stars and Base Roundtable here, where we pick fruits.
We do.
Berries.
In the chat, apparently, people are, picking fruits.
I don't know what's going on with the chat. They're like,
What's that? Cantaloupes? Are those fruit? Oh, he's going off of
Cantaloupe?
Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's a melon.
Oh, it's a melon.
It's a melon.
Dingleberries, memberberries, snarberries.
Dingleberry,
nuts?
something you have between the legs.
No, Gentile berries. Plumes.
Fucking Jay Lee. Seriously.
okay. We are now in the question block.
Yes,
and we
are.
have about 20 questions now. So plenty.
Dean's going to read them and then pick a winner.
All right. First question from KGB Thanatos 73. Do you think they will leave the PTU servers running for testing of new content?
Yes.
Okay.
They have to.
From Mayonnaise 15.
Hold
Have
on. Mitauchi, you're muted.
No, I'm muted?
Yeah.
Now you're not.
Now I'm not.
What did you say?
I said the answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
The answer is yes.
Okay, good. Next.
What was the question?
It was, will they leave the PTU server?
Are you
Life is a
Quiz.
test. Now we're moving on.
Yeah. I mean, every game has a test server that runs live even when they have a live build out.
Yeah.
So I would hope that,
Most of them do, yes.
I would
Even
hope
World
they
of
would do
Warcraft
that.
has it.
So
Blizzard on most games actually have it.
EVE Online
No, and
has had
especially-
a constant test server the entire time over the last 12, 13 years they've been up. So
With
Shit.
the Delta incremental patching, it's just going to make it so much better for everybody.
mhm.
Well, every game kind of has that already, though.
Mm-hmm.
We're just getting up to speed, man. Don't be judgy.
I know, man.
All right, next question from Mayonnaise 15. Have your expectations for Squadron 42 changed from when it was first announced until now?
I had no expectations.
What?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well, the point
it
is
was
you-
going to be a
like
thing.
You have
Tomb Raider in
theories.
space, but better.
That's my expectation. It'll be a thing.
It'll be a thing.
It's filler
Awesome
until we get more
an
Star
expectation.
Citizen content.
Is awesome an expectation?
Yes.
That's what it's going to be. That's what I expected it to be from the get-go.
Next question from Mayonnaise again. Would you rather see a Star Wars or Star Trek game and the Star Citizen engine?
Both.
Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Both.
Well, both, yeah.
Strong.
But
You know-
gotta
I hope Star Citizen just takes cool aspects from both games and puts them
No, they
into-
will.
It kind of is.
They won't do teleport, right? Teleport ain't
Well,
gonna
I hope not.
They can't do that.
Uh-huh.
Beaming, no.
preached-
And no lightsabers.
Yes, lightsabers.
Like daggers.
What I thought would have been cool.
We already got the Hamel. Why not a little lightsaber action?
Right? I mean, it's already there. We got what's his
No
name? Who
fucking
plays,
glow sticks.
Have a little
listen,
rave
we-
party.
Yeah. As long as they got the music to go with it and the drugs, why not?
Okay. Next question. From Whiskey Omega. When is T.O. going to get some light on him to get rid of that green screen noise?
It's funny. I said the
Not
same
sure.
thing before we started.
And you know,
And he did
what-
the same thing.
And
Fuck
T.O.
you.
said, "Hey, I like my sparkly cap. F you guys. That's the way I want it. This is how I get
Sparkly cap.
recognized."
First of all, for me to get better lighting, I have to actually get lighting in here. That's how simple it is. I have monitors. That's it.
You just open a Google Doc on one of them,
Exactly, like a white page.
and that's plenty of white lighting.
That's how
Well,
I have a pattern I use now to not get too much light.
There's actually a
Doesn't have
website called sometimesred.sometimesblue.com that
Light causes
displays
some
a
pain.
page in red or blue randomly, so you never know what you can get.
Wow.
And that is just technology at its best right there. It's just like,
That's crazy.
what?
I want to. I don't even know if I want to know the story on how you found that website. It's like, what were you searching to find that?
Well, there's actually, I can actually answer that. There's a website that lists a bunch of useless websites all over the internet, and it's just funny. It's just,
And of course, he had to explore them all.
of
'cause they're
course, because they were all great.
Gosh.
The
Next
amount
question.
the amount of bugs now on his computer is amazing.
From Renegade Shank. What would you design for Star Citizen if you could? I'll save. I'll wait till I'll be the last one.
Why don't you be the first one this time?
No.
Because it's going to take 25 minutes for her to. So none of us have an opinion except for Eden. So you have the.
I would design buildings and environments. Yep.
That's
I
pretty
would
generic.
Stations, fort. I would love to try a space fort if you can.
I would
Or
design
city, village.
I would see. This is what you do. You never go first, and you cut her off, so it's not. and then I would design the entire interdiction system. That's what I would do, because I think it's that important and that cool.
I
all I
would
got.
design the FPS aspect, especially how armor works and how Deathless Spacemen work, so that people like Moggimus can die all the time, all the fucking time.
No.
Specifically die of a heart attack when they're cussing out my system.
TO is not allowed to get anywhere near the FPS mechanics. Thank you very much.
And Jay Lee
out of
would
all the
design
people-
characters.
Out of all the
funny.
people here, I'm the only person that actually worked on FPS mechanics.
Well, here is what I would do: is I wouldn't actually design anything. I would just share with CIG the knowledge that there are actually bulletproof helmets where you don't die when you get shot in the head. You get hurt. You don't die. And it's actually a thing that exists in 2017. So why it doesn't exist in 2947 is fucking asinine.
Because they're space bullets.
Space
know.
bullets.
So on the happy hour this past Friday, they were talking about like how they use their tools to design, and one of the designers talked about, oh yeah, and on this what's it called, this door path, you could have a view to this space window, and the window wasn't aligned on the axis, and it was driving me nuts. It's like, you want to give view, but your window's off the axis that you're trying to provide the view for. And I got distracted from whatever else they were saying, because I was thinking, do they have any background in architecture
No.
or design?
Yeah.
Like,
But you were talking about this on Friday,
I know.
right?
I know.
And you weren't paying attention to chat. And I would just like to point something out to all the wannabe architects out there, that when you design something, you need to take into consideration fucking furniture and appliance placement, which you don't when you design shit. And that's why there's always a big ass window where you should be putting a large sofa.
Hey,
Always.
we'll that
You know
happens.
why? Because architects are full of shit.
Oh, shut up, Juntao. You don't even know what
Damn.
architects do. You think we just sit around and do like pretty pictures. You told me
You
robots.
design 51 fucking story buildings that fucking sink 14 inches and lean 7 inches.
Whoa,
That's
whoa,
what
whoa,
you
whoa,
do.
whoa.
That's what you
That is
fucking do.
geotech's report. Okay? Architects are supposed to, what's it called? Manage consultants. They're project managers, and you talk and coordinate things between consultants. If one of your consultants, well, technically geotech is not under us, it's under the client. They write a report and they say, it's not a good report. Well, the design is based off that report.
Got this going now.
Just saying.
All I need to know is, Eden, do you consider couches and tables whenever you do any designs in art?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, then
So-
Eden's one of the good ones, so she's okay. We're all good. That easy.
And
Well,
also, there's a
you
lot
should
of houses.
you should get your license and stop designing and start teaching designers then.
There you go.
Could. Also, a
Funny
lot of
guy,
houses that you see built, sometimes you don't need architects for that. Like single family homes, generally you're not required to have an architect. You just need a builder and you just need to get a permit and say it meets code. So I've seen some floor plans on like websites that I don't know who designed, I guess one of the design build companies. And I'm like, what are you doing? The kitchen and the dining room should be next to each other, connected directly, instead of going all the way around in the hallway and looping around into the dining room. And I'm seeing all these little design mistakes on these.
It's called a servant's passage, by the way. Not a hallway. It's a servant's passage.
This is not. Is that what you call your wife, Juntao?
We wouldn't buy a house that had a servant's passage.
Oh my god, that's not a service.
That's still a
passage.
thing.
No. It was a hallway. They were using the main hallway from the foyer to the kitchen living area as the same pathway to get to the dining room. You're supposed to connect the dining room to the kitchen directly, so if you're carrying a hot plate of food, you get to the table quickly. And by the time you get all the way around, it doesn't get cold.
We're still doing questions.
So we take these things into consideration. ADA,
This must have been a
ADA
big
Was-
ass motherfucking
was
house
the-
for that place.
Was the hallway?
Walking down a
is the
hallway,
hall-
but
Was the hallway?
it's like a mile long.
Yeah. Is the hallway big
Well,
enough
when,
to
of course,
turn
they-
a Titan suit in though? That's the question. Could you turn a Titan suit in this hallway that you're talking? Because
No,
if you
I think it
can't,
was-
I'm just not interested in it anymore. It's like if you can't turn a Titan suit.
Star Citizen, next question.
Welcome to the architecture roundtable.
Next question from Edo Quedra? Edo Rita? Edo
Yes.
Quedra? Sorry for messing up your name. After 3.1 and ships are purchasable in game, will CIG still be making the money they need with less people buying ships for real money?
Yes.
They will be they will still be selling
much,
ships
but-
and at 3.1. They will be
Yes.
selling it probably into beta. So
They haven't even started selling FPS suits and weapons and stuff, and they do plan to do that at some point.
We're
So there's
pretty-
more items coming on, and more that you'll
I'm
see.
pretty
Because
sure, they'll probably keep a good subscription thing going as well. And I bet
Yeah,
that a lot of
but
people
how-
that might have backed using money might switch
Mm-hmm.
over to doing subscription if they can.
especially let's take some of the large ships. Even though, let's say you could buy a Starfarer in game, right? And you grind, you get your Starfarer in game and all this stuff. Well, 3 months is get reset, right? Because they're going to reset your ships you buy in game that is not your owned ships until we get to beta or down the line. They're going to reset your wallets, those type of things. Some people aren't going to want to regrind for that every 3 months. Some people are going to buy it anyway. I'd rather just make a cash pledge, buy this, because next build I don't want to sit there and regrind for all these ships again. I'd rather just have them already and then do something else. So you're still going to sell quite a few ships, even though they're available to buy in game. I feel all the way through up to beta.
Absolutely.
So
And to keep in mind that CIG has specifically stated that no funding model is off the table. So if they find the
None.
need to sell ships in the future after the game launches, they will sell ships in the future after the game launches. And if that hurts your butt,
this
get a towel because you're about to melt.
I hope, and I know they reserve the option to whatever. I hope they they sell ships, but only concept ships after launch. That's what I hope.
Well,
I
and
don't
they'll still
wanna-
have starter packages and all that other bullshit.
Absolutely.
But if
Starter
they
packages are
need the
fine.
money, which it doesn't look like they're going to need the money because there are some big financial partnerships going on that we don't even begin to know the details on
Yeah.
that are going to help this game be successful. So
I mean, on top of that,
I hope they charge $19.99 a month for everybody after they spent $1,200 on an Idrit.
Yeah, that would.
I would love it if they offered an optional subscription.
There will be, just like there is now.
Like I said,
I know.
they'll probably
Yeah,
continue.
yeah.
That content- because then say maybe you get a discount on some of the currency cards or Flare or something else in game,
Maybe you get some cash for it, in-game cash for the
or
subscription.
or a new skin for the guys who only have a couple hours a week to even play. I mean, I
A
totally get
$500
that.
reputation reset token.
So, whatever it takes. I'd probably buy a lot of those, unfortunately, but yeah. So it's like we're raising a new fundage for Mitauchi's reputation reset for November. So, but
Well-
yeah, there's lots of avenues they can go. Even let's be honest with aesthetics. With T-shirts, they haven't even scratched the surface on merchandising or in-game
Yeah.
aesthetics.
They're doing very
Or
little.
in-game
with
advertising.
advertising.
There's so much there. Like maybe
Dude.
you want to market your Oregon side on all their screens and stuff like that. You could pay them with like real currency to like do in-game advertising. That'd be kind of cool.
There was a time when my kids played CSGO hardcore, and it was like literally every day that I was asked to buy something cosmetic for that game for my
Yep.
kids. Every fucking day
Came a
until they
multi-million
found the
dollar
magic
industry,
of
right?
PUBG. Exactly. So people will spend an astronomical amount of money to have
Crap, yeah.
special
Yeah.
clothing or a special ship skin or even boots. God, CIG, you want to make money? Get the female fucking character model done and
No
out and in the
doubt.
game and start selling shoes.
Choose.
There you go.
Yeah.
For $1, you get a pair of shoes.
Well, I was
But
gonna
Right?
say CS:GO's an old
Like-
game and it still makes a lot of money off their
That's-
aesthetics. I'm just saying.
Microtransactions work.
Like for like 50 cents or whatever. Like I play what's it called, Guns of Icarus, and
Yeah.
there's clothing in the game already, but there's like extra like special
Mhm.
outfits that you buy for like quarter,
Yep.
75 cents. They're really
Yeah.
tiny like amount, but they sell like crazy.
Absolutely.
Sure, and $5 to a gamer now, like Mitauchi was saying, he's got $500 in Steam games or whatever,
Per year,
That just-
probably. Easily.
and everybody does it. I mean, everybody does. I have tons of Steam games in my library that aren't even downloaded anymore that I know I spent, but
I remember buying
Whatever.
the deluxe package of the original Battlefront, and I hated it. And I played it
Right.
for all of like 5 hours total,
and that was $100.
$100 all day, and just like,
Next question from Jaylee Art. Is Jaylee the best or what?
No,
That's cheap.
Yes,
Best at what?
just the
depends
best.
who you ask.
I'll tell you, because Eden loves our bromance, Jaylee. She's jealous, to be honest with you. Your
I am.
concept art is pretty good. Your Twitch channel is really fucking good.
Oh yeah.
Really good.
I can say after spending an entire private weekend with Jaylee at TwitchCon, he is the best.
He's okay. He doesn't suck.
Or maybe he does.
Maybe he
God.
does.
Next question. Head plot. Will we get VR support in Squadron 42?
We get what?
VR.
support.
Yes.
They've already
Eventually.
said that. They've already said that.
I don't think so in the first one. I don't think it'll happen.
No,
But
yeah.
we had
depends-
VR
depends on-
support in a damn hangar, and then they took it out because it was fucked.
It's going to be fucked in Squadron. They'll wait for the next
it-
generation.
but-
for
but-
the fully
so
supported, they'll wait for the next chapter. of
There
Squadron
you go.
42.
That's the only things they're waiting for, and that's what they've stated is the next generation, because the current generation doesn't do the game credit, because VR at the moment
Sucks.
You'd have to dumb down the game, the graphics of the game and everything. You'd have to dumb it
It's a
way
test
down for
platform,
Squadron
yeah.
42. Yeah, I think it would make the game look like shit. To be
Star
honest.
VR, kids.
Yeah.
Star VR.
It's common.
Next question from Mayonnaise15. Do you think Star Citizen will age well graphically or have a mechanism in place for devs to revamp the game as needed?
Yes.
It will age well.
think
What
so.
they can
And
do
it will be updated.
in 10 years, the game will require update because everything in the game is going to be 8K assets.
You're going to need a 1 terabyte Optane drive
I was gonna
to
say.
pump that shit.
And if you look at other titles have already successfully done graphical updates that are pretty
Gigabytes.
significant. Like I'll use the name I always drop, EVE Online. Like if you look at it from 8 years ago when I played it a lot to when I stopped playing it about 2 years ago, huge graphical difference. It
Didn't
was
they do
like
a whole
pasty
engine
clouds.
rewrite?
They did. The complete engine rewrite, a whole graphical upgrade. They had nebulas, gas things you could actually fly
crazy,
through,
yeah.
all that stuff. Yeah, it was huge. It went from a pastel-y spreadsheet game to a beautiful universe. And so there's no way that I would doubt with CIG already doing graphical updates in alpha during the course of the last 4 years, right? They're doing updates now for graphics. They're going to continue to do this.
Oh, yeah.
It'll happen.
And as long as Jay Lee keeps pumping out that crazy ass concept art, they're going to have to.
Right.
You guys we're all going to be bankrupt.
I
from
like
buying
this
chips and
question so
computer
much. I have to
components.
take it directly now.
Oh, Jesus
Who
Christ.
is the super salty guy in the top middle?
Who's the question from? Who's the
It's
question from?
Yeah. Do it right,
no,
Tio. If you're going to
W.
take that job, you better do it right.
I still
This is
didn't
all
hear
on
who the
you.
question was from.
Wow.
Who asked the fucking question?
I told
Yo.
you.
I didn't hear you because Eden was yelling over you.
Sanuk TW.
Canuck TW.
I am your father. Next question.
Okay. Next question from Omega Ryu. What are the plans for in-game death and how does that work with lifetime insurance?
Oh boy.
Great question, actually, for people that don't
How does-
know the mechanic.
How does character death work with
With
LTI?
lifetime insurance, like how does
Yeah.
that impact your insurance aspects if you died?
Inheritance.
I think the insurance is going to be with a ship, right?
Yeah.
So like you just inherit it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Good
No
answer.
LTI on your person for being stupid and getting killed.
LTI
Yeah, I'm
stays
gonna-
with the ship.
I'm going to go through a couple characters.
Couple.
I know it's going to
Yes,
happen.
we are.
Let's be honest. We're all gonna play. We're all gonna play this game
Couple
long enough to
shit.
where we're gonna go through generations of characters. It's gonna happen. I mean, whether
So
we
the idea.
want to or not. So
You'll have a
Make that
shorter
one
lifeline,
credits.
like the Xiana ship along.
To answer, I really answer the question about in-game death. The plan is to have each time you kind of die in the game, you don't die, you get resurrected in some hospital, but you might be, if you were shot in the leg, you might be losing a leg and get an artificial leg, prosthetic instead. And after 5 to 8 times, it's
Or whatever they find the balance to be.
and you're out, and another character in your family tree will then inherit your stuff, and you will lose some reputation and lose some this and some that.
It'll be an achievement. Like, you've earned the achievement, shortest character lifespan ever. Of the entire everyone. Like,
You died
Entire universe.
18 times trying to take off from a platform.
your shortest lifespan is 5 minutes.
and according to Chris Roberts, even all the way up to CitizenCon, it's still overall arching plan is on the Death of the Spaceman document.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and if you haven't read the doc, you need to read the doc because
Yeah,
it
if you're-
explains everything. It's
if
huge.
you're new
I
to
don't
the
think
game,
everybody
that's the way
know
to go.
there is a doc.
Yeah, because it's so old, a lot of
It was
people have just come
comlink
on.
from ages, yeah.
So next question from Comhead Clot. Does Relum have chips and what flavor are they?
Yes.
He did have chips.
I
He ate them
no.
all.
Like I said, there were
He had like 3
leftovers.
bags.
I had 3 bags. Cheese, onion.
What's the flavor?
Cheese.
Then there was tortilla sweet chili Doritos. And there is curry onion. And
you
I
like
still
onions,
have,
don't you?
What is wrong with just salty potato chips? Just standard, regular salty potato
and
chips.
I have nuts. Oh wait, you can't see them. Oh wait, they're green. The bag is green.
Green nuts.
What did he? Oh, gee. Okay. Where's the technical difficulty screen on this show?
There's no need. The whole fucking show is a technical
I was
Yeah.
difficulty.
gonna say, what the hell are we going up to right now? Is that even so much worse?
Next question from
It's
Citizen
a green nuts.
Moving right along.
How do you think things are going to go sale-wise when people can finally rent ship in-game with UEC or whatever?
They'll rent it and then they'll buy it
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. Renting is not.
if you have the money.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think when the ships are able to rent or when they're able to be purchased in game, people will just go crazy and do that. That's already been disproven because a lot of people in the beginning when we first had Arena Commander, right? They're like, oh, well, everybody will just use rec and they won't buy ships. Well, hello.
Not true.
That didn't happen, right? That's not the way that went. So
Well, you know,
people want to buy it.
The thing about rec and the thing, rec, you got a little head start there, but
Yeah,
I mean, still
it's great.
crying from the last one. But the thing is, you have to earn it, especially with UA. When it comes from the Alpha UEC, you have to earn it in game, and except for special snowflakes, that like to really play a lot, and other people that really kind of want to play a lot, and like people like me that will spend time in it just because it's going to take time to get Alpha UEC, and most people won't going to do that. So what going to do? They're going to spend cash.
Absolutely. I have it.
Well, I'm going to go out on a
I
limb.
never use.
Yeah, I have millions of fucking rec.
Yeah.
But I think contrary to popular belief, there is a certain segment of the community that buys ships based on the role because that's the role they want to play in the game. But there's a lot of people that have ridiculous fleets.
Yes.
Like literal fleets of ships. There's just no fucking way in hell you're ever going to use all those ships. And we're not buying them because we want the ships. We're buying them because we want to fucking make sure that money continues to flow into this project. So
Absolutely.
All right, next question from Pratermeyer. During the CitizenCon presentation, Chris Roberts, CIG, decided to present ArcCorp, which seems to be pretty far in its development cycle, and then Hurston, which wasn't as complete and optimized. As mentioned by Chris Roberts, as ArcCorp was, since the Stanson system is used by CIG as a test bed to build star systems, do you think that Hurston is the second planet that they are working on, and that ArcCorp is the only planet that is that far into the development cycle?
Let's stop there and ask the rest of the question.
Yeah.
Just take that first.
it's the tools. It's just the tools.
But it's Hurston, the second planet they're working on. That's the question.
He specifically said that they're developing the art assets that fit into the tool system that they use to populate ArcCorp. And then because they're all modular sets, then they're going to be able to build things more quickly, the same way that they showed ArcCorp the tool set during the demonstration where they switched the planet around and all that kind of shit with Sean Tracy. So they have to have the assets in the tool set in order to do that. And that's going to go across the board.
And they have to do that for a different company for Hurston because have to have a different style because it's a different company. So they probably weren't ready with that tool yet. So next.
I'd also point out real quick for Eden goes the next question, sorry, that ArcCorp they showed was because it's a huge technical leap, a technical achievement that shows off that tool they used very well. It's by no means done. They flew over it, but that's not really populated, functional, or anything. It's not even close. They're just kind of showing that way to shut up the naysayers like, you can't build a city planet. Oh yeah, bitch, watch this. And they that whole CitizenCon was like the shut the fuck up CitizenCon for all those other people that didn't have anything good to say about it.
The suck it DS con.
It was. Okay.
Well, everything that's said that cannot be done
Yeah.
was shown to be
That's exactly,
done.
that was the entire point. That was the whole point. That was my takeaway from it. A lot of people said, "Oh, I wanted to see mine. I want to see this." I was ready for a shut the fuck up CitizenCon, and we've heard like little crybaby stuff, but mostly crickets. No poignant comeback, nothing at all. He did a great job. Now we can go into the holiday stuff with, some more money into the
Low expectations, please.
Yeah.
For the holiday stream. Low
Expect
expectations.
for Gentile. Nobody else is talking about dipshit either.
Okay. Second part of his question. I think we went over. Okay. Do you think the CIG is further into the multiple planetary systems that they have to develop? With that being said, once all major tech is in, how many planetary systems would you consider enough for a successful launch?
5.
Yeah, as big as they are.
They're huge. I mean,
Yeah.
Are we talking about launch for gold here? They've already stated 10 to 12,
yeah,
with more oncoming really quick after that.
yeah. But I think 5 would even be enough.
Yeah, I think
You know what
so.
I mean? They're so big and so vast, and they really want to have hundreds of hours of gameplay in each. They could launch with 5 and just constantly add. But if they're going to launch with 10 or 12, there's more than you'll ever be able to do in a short amount
Hey,
of time.
if they say 10 to 12, I'm going to count 20 as a success.
Oh yeah, I mean, but, hey, it all
They raised the bar,
how-
I raised the bar.
It all depends on how large the player base is going to be at launch, because it could be a lot bigger than it is now.
Question from ADT Abyssal. Regarding politics, how long before Terra overtakes Earth as the political hub?
I thought it already did.
Already happened. Already happened when the game launches.
Yeah.
I know
Unofficially, yeah.
they're
Yeah.
still fighting over it.
I
You don't
think
hear
also-
a lot about Earth, right?
No.
No.
That's
But
because
I
it's a
think-
fucking shithole. You live here.
Yeah. At this point, it's kind of like, resource depleted, the home world of where everybody originated, but it's not of like as much political interest, I don't believe, in the lore of the game at this
Economical at that
stage.
point.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
I think it's also a point of that people might assume that the lore is standing still as the game is being developed, but it's not. I mean, look at the whole thing when they started the bishop's speech thing, that Vega was invaded, and suddenly on the star map you could see a change, that there was suddenly a contested system instead of a UEE, non.
Mhm.
Yeah, but most people aren't paying attention to these, minute details,
Yeah, what I'm
and that's
saying is that
why they don't get it.
it could be possible that even before release, much would already have been changed about the whole the story behind it and the lore pack. I mean, maybe the Vandal would have invaded more systems, and you could find them anywhere
Yep.
by now. By then,
Well,
whatever.
They kind of want to launch the game in a state of flux anyway. You want
Yeah.
border systems that are kind of shifting who owns and all this stuff, because it creates a more interesting environment, right? Like, oh, Vandal raid, oh no, now it's clean, and stuff like that. So if you go to these precursory outer line systems, you get that type of gameplay. I mean, it makes sense.
Why
like
do
every
I-
other MMO?
But this
Why do
ties
I
into the
recall
previous question,
conversations? Does it?
though. Yeah, because how many question systems are going to be at launch? It might not be at launch with that much Vandal systems unless they actually come with multiple systems, in the double digits.
Yeah, but they only need one, because everybody keeps thinking everybody's going to be in the same instance at launch, and you know what I mean. Let's be real about it. I mean, if they can get up to hundreds and hundreds of players in the area and all that stuff, when this game actually launches, I would expect at least the hype at the beginning to have hundreds of thousands of people at least trying out the game in the first week, at least, if not well over 1 million or 2.
Yeah, they'll be
would
over
think.
1 million.
But some people will feign out, right, over time and all this stuff. So I don't see there ever being a thing where you're gonna have single shard, 1 million people in the same universe.
So that's we were talking about. Remember the zoning system earlier,
Yeah.
and the
Gonna
zoning
allow
system.
that to be the case.
They will allow that to be the case because technically you are on your own shard is just controlled by a master server. So let's say that there's on launch there's 1 million people in a specific area. You won't see the million. You will see first of all, you will mostly see people on your own times, in Europe or in the United States or in Asia, etc.
On your friends list, contact list, priority.
And so that's going to be the dictates, and you're going to see then to populate the universe, you're going to see outside your own zone, but not further than your client and the service can support.
Yeah.
So there might be 1 million people in the starting system or in different starting systems. Let's say there's 100,000 or 200,000. You will only see, let's say, up to 1,000.
Yeah.
If that's their dream. So that we are in the same shard doesn't mean I see you.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a couple things to keep in mind with this whole discussion, right? The first thing would be that, in my opinion, the way to build it, which is logical, is Stanton is a shard. Where are we going after Stanton? Does anybody remember? Pyro. Pyro is the next system to be built after Stanton. Chris Roberts specifically stated it during the CitizenCon event. So that being the case,
shown it in the back.
Pyro would be a shard, right?
It will be an overarching
And to
shard.
get-
Nobody would directly connected to that shard.
From server to in your basic concept of MMOs, like we've seen in like World of Warcraft and shit, with multiple servers where you choose a server and you live on that server. That's the way these systems will be treated, and those systems will be zoned down into geographic areas that are controlled by virtual servers run by an overarching game server. This is the zoning system that you're talking about. I say it a bucking million times. If you don't understand anything about the technology, go research a game called Dual Universe, look for the server architecture demo, and that is exactly what's going to happen. There's no question about it. So it will work. It already fucking works. It's just adapting it to 3D space and all this other shit. So yeah.
Next question. From Trade Mogul. Will you design my base for me, Eden? Do you think base defenses will actually work, or do you think it'll be like an arc where no amount of auto defense will save your base? First question? Yes.
Second question? It will
Second
be balanced
question?
eventually.
The real question is, will spaceships be able to blow up your fucking base? Because if that's the case, it's indefensible.
Yeah.
Orbital
Yes,
bombardment.
and they've already. Some people say they want, orbital bombardment, but that's, it's indefensible. So, and they already stated multiple times, no orbital bombardment. So,
I think they are going to do orbital bombardment, but I think they're going to make it Star Wars style. You're going to have to get ground troops in the ground. I'm serious. Take the orbital shield down. Do those sort of things in order to bring down the hammer from the skies if you want to do that.
I don't think it's going to be player controlled if they put that in at all. It's going to be an event where it's done by NPCs.
It's not the plan according to Tony.
So look at it this way. If you give somebody orbital bombardment, what are they going to use it for? To troll other players. Destruction.
Yeah,
so
but
it can't. You cannot have, but you cannot give. I cannot give you orbital bombardment because you're a fucking mercenary.
You don't give it. It's part of a ship. It's part of a ship structure.
These fucking mercs.
Yeah, the whole thing is it's not something you can arbitrarily use, and I think it's going to be super expensive to use because it's going to take a special type of thing. Just like everybody talks about blopping everybody with size 9 and 10 torpedoes. The cost of those things is not cheap. If you think people are going to just go around and grief people like you're flying your air and you hit a size 9 on you all the time,
think Eve.
They could, but it's
how much money did you have in Eve?
Well, Eve didn't have a system of checks and balances for monetary money sinks.
I have a lot of money still in Eve, even though I play it.
Yeah,
Why
so
do we go off course with this
eventually
question?
it doesn't matter.
We're
It doesn't
still on
matter.
course.
Cost doesn't really matter. It only matters to the starting player or the player that don't play as much. Or not the biggest org. So the biggest org will always have so much money, it doesn't really matter. They have so much resources, they can lose their ships over and over.
It's the
doesn't
question,
matter.
will the biggest org want to give individuals those things to do that sort of thing and develop that rep, because those actions also have led to the toppling of empires in EVE Online because of what orcs do like that.
Okay, so in chat, Death Star confirmed by Jaylee Art. So planetary destruction will be a thing.
That's how rumors start.
You guys are getting to draw a
I'm
new
fucking
planet
putting
now.
that shit on Twitter right now. I'm
And
gonna
we'll never
edit that
see a
in
CIG
Photoshop,
person on this show ever again.
where it said,
But-
"I just made me a Death Star for Star Citizen."
Well, we also know on
That's
top
going
of like
Twitter.
possible shielding and stuff, Chris Roberts already talked about possible cloaks last year for bases. So you still have to discover these.
Stealth generator? Yeah.
Not stealth visually, but stealth off radar. So unless you think you're just going to cruise over the outskirts of a planet, you're going to have to get down there and find these
I
things.
just
You have to
for
locate them and
planet
stuff.
side stuff, I just like immediately when I saw the Pioneer,
Mhm.
and I'm like, I just had Command and Conquer in my head immediately, and I just want to play Command and Conquer on moons and planets and
I
stuff.
think you're going to, but first person instead of RTS
Right,
top
exactly.
down.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Build the base, get construction, new constructor ready. So
You must build additional pylon.
yeah,
Construct.
low energy.
All right. Next question from Bender Over. If a large battle
That guy.
ship
Every week.
I love Bender.
ships and any other ship, what would? Sorry, let me start this again.
Yeah, start over.
Oh God.
Say his
If
name.
in a large battle with cap ships and any other ships, what would be the position, job, support, combat you would be playing?
I don't have an answer for that. We'll have to find out what the mechanics actually play out like.
Fleet commander for me.
I won't be the person to push the button and make things go boom.
There's lots of buttons to be pushed.
Yes.
Be the person behind the mixer console, managing the levels.
Right?
On-
No, I just real quick, the structural hierarchy of that is so amazing to me, because it's being an FC and EVE where you're just one dude in TeamSpeak with 200 people. And you tell them all to shut
Yelling.
the fuck up and listen, and just like primary this one target. So different dynamic in Star Citizen. You could be a fleet commander, but your XO would have to literally still run your ship, all the repair teams, all the gunners, all that stuff, while you're barking orders at other captains of other ships, commanding their ships to do the same thing, and all top down with that. So you're probably maybe talking to 20 or 30 guys that are like captains, you know, and then it's a whole breakdown of that, and then have to have an overarching strategy while worried about your own vessel making it through the fight too. I mean, that's going to be amazing. It's going to be
And
so
you
much
have to
more
have all
Battlestar
your crew
Galactica.
trained in communication, trained in what they're doing for specific stations, and then when you get boarded, trained in FES and defense,
Absolutely.
and all that's nice stuff.
Yep. And the guy who's like, oh, I didn't bring the Marines this time, you know, is going to be like, well, now you got to pull your gunners out of your turrets in order to defend the hallways because they're boarding us, you know. It's one of those things that's going to be a learning process for a lot of people, but it's going to be an amazing thing, you know.
All right. Next
Promises
question
to be very fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Very crazy.
Really cool.
from HeySC. Do you guys think 3.0 is gonna be the official start of alpha? Yes.
Oh,
No.
I think they're
Technically,
calling
it's
it
already
Alpha 3.0.
turned alpha. Yeah, it's always been like that.
Yeah.
since,
Yeah, but it's still pre-alpha in my mind. Where's mining? Where's reclamation? Where's interdiction?
Of course,
Where are
but-
all the other core game mechanics to where you could start saying, or is that when you assume that we call it beta?
I
when
think
they're
the,
all in. Yeah.
the first thing is this 3.0 is basically the core engine, and then they're going to add in more subsidiary gameplay or game style parts that's of that engine, as time goes on. But the core engine at that point, I would say it's in alpha. At least that the engine is in place. So
Well,
I
that's
would
the point
I
where
would
they
say
can
it's
start
alpha.
moving to beta a lot faster.
Yeah, I'd say the whole process right now, we're in alpha all the way until it's feature complete. Once it's feature complete, you're in beta. Once you don't have to add any more features to the game, that's beta mode. So all the way from now till then, you're already in alpha.
Yeah, but the problem with that argument is that they're technically adding features and tools simultaneously. It's not like
Optional features.
that's the
You're talking
challenge.
about core.
That's the
mechanics.
challenge of Star Citizen is that they don't have all the game building tools in place the way that they want them while they're building features, which is why we see so many things fucking revisited so many times, because a new tool comes online or a new system comes online and they're like, wow, item
But
2.0.
we're doing a switch. We're doing a switch when 3.0 comes out, because then we have an engine they hopefully are going to stick with.
and now a patcher that's actually a Delta patcher, a patcher that hopefully will allow them to introduce new elements to both the test server and the live server faster, and test them and get them complete. But yeah,
I'll go this far. I'll say alpha when the zoning system is in and each server can house as many players as it can possibly hold. And then I'll call it an alpha. Until then, it's just a tech demo.
Next question from Silent Thor.
It's like, shit.
When org
He wants to respond. Let him respond.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just
I
gonna
saw
say,
it in his eyes. He was like,
player,
I don't
the
have
player,
the camera up on. I
know.
have
Oh,
the questions in front
the
of me.
player count thing is something that's going to hang up on me, because I remember in EVE Online when we only could get 50 people on grid, and now you can get 4,000, and that's something that's constantly expanded, even way past their beta into live and all that. I don't think the player thing will ever be fully mitigated to where, hey, this is all the people we can get. I think that'll be something to be constantly iterative, all the way past launch or whatever you want to call it.
well, it's going to have to be more than fucking 60 contiguous players in any given play space.
If you can't have 3v3 capitals with support vessels, I wouldn't consider it a success yet.
Yes,
It is on grid in a visual zone. That, because people might say, oh, I want thousands or whatever, blah, blah, blah. You won't even perceive thousands if you see thousands of ships. You won't. 3 major capitals with a contingent of like 10 to 15 support ships is more than you'll see in like a Star Wars movie, single frame shooting each other. It's a lot of shit going on, and people just don't realize that until they experience it. So wait till we get a couple caps online and we have a real capital fight going on, not the one they showed in Gamescom.
No, where they're actually running into each other and exploding and shit.
Yeah, in 3 seconds. No, it's like it's like the real battle will be epic, and you'll be like, wow, how many was that? And they'll say, oh, that was just 50 dudes, and you'll be like, holy shit, you know.
All right. Next question.
I agree.
From Silent Thorn. When org like Imperium does not condone piracy, and an org like Overwatch may swing both ways, can there still be cooperation between the two?
I'd say that's up to more the hardliners, right? Because I obviously don't have a problem with cooperating with that, but some people might be like, hey, you did your last op for these guys, or we heard about this, so we don't want to work with you. Our guys are pros, and they'll work with whoever, you know.
Look at it this way. Let's go real life for a second. Think of a country like United States.
Mm-hmm.
They will work with anybody as long as they have a goal to achieve.
Yeah, but the problem with that analogy is the fact that's the United States, like every other country, has its own politics. This would be more like a country.
So would Imperium.
Yes,
if you are more than 1,000 players, you're gonna have your own politics out. You're gonna be shitting politics.
This would be more like the only thing that I would have to consider as a mercenary is if my working with another entity damages a current contract with another guy. So it's more of a business type
You're
thing,
like
right?
Blackwater's little cousin.
There you go. that'd be a better analogy, really, because it's like, you know, if the Americans came to Blackwater in the day when they were around and they said, hey, you know, we're not going to work with you if you go work for this third world nation, then I guarantee Blackwater would be like, yeah, we ain't working with a third world nation because we want these American contracts, right? So it's one of those type of deals is more of a consideration. Plus, you have to worry about the feasibility of the op. You get some little guy wanting to do something crazy and he's willing to throw money at you. Well, does that damage a long-term relationship with somebody else? If a guy with like 30 people says, we'll pay you whatever you want, but you got a grief test in this area for the next 6 months, and I'm like, you know, I just don't do that. Plus, you also have to make sure your operators in your org deal on a professional level. That means my guys can't troll in chat. They can't sit there and spam local and do those type of things like what you'd see in other games like Goons do and all that. My guys were always pro. They come in, and a lot of orgs that we had contracts again would just give up They would just say, hey, you know, we know you're here for that. And they would be the guys who would be our client next week. You just don't know. So you just got to keep it clean and keep it pro and do it that way.
Okay. Great answer. Next question from Helium 3. Since we already have hangars and ship with beds now, how useful do you see outposts being? Very useful.
Very useful.
Well, Tony Zervek himself said it was more about exploitation of resources than anything.
That's right.
So if you're just putting it there just to put it there so you could say you have an outpost, well, then that's a money sink, which is fine.
If that's what you want.
But if you're using it to gather resources, moisture, fucking whatever.
Mining, plants, laboratory, science.
That the more people you have, the bigger the ego is going to be. And the more people need to be... people want... If something is possible, people want to do it. That's how simple 100%. It is.
I agree with that too. There will be people who just get outposts just to have an outpost. But there'll be other groups, like, you know, just like we were making fun of earlier, where we were saying, you know, most people won't put a whole bunch of outposts out there themselves because
some people will.
Some people will. I remember people putting up POS towers, personal stations in Eve, where all he did would log on and manage these 50 different towers mining moons. And that was his whole game. He couldn't do anything else. He did it for like 12 hours a day. But he made billions and billions of in-game currency, and that's all he did. Some people love that stuff. Other people will be more strategic spot, whether it's for resources or an area where you could reship. You know, you could bring other assets there and stuff. And while you can't store ships in an outpost unless you physically bring them there, it doesn't mean you couldn't land ships and protect them in that area and then have a resupply for another op or something like that.
And Jay Lee is dropping knowledge bombs in the chat saying, plus the outposts are designed to replenish your oxygen. So if you're on an exploration, you know, you could have a centralized outpost and forward operating base. Absolutely.
Well, on truck stops.
Yep. Next question from Blackbird Blitz. I own multiple Vanguards and BUKs and think the new system could add greater flexibilities. What do you guys think about the changes to the BUK system?
I don't mind it.
What does BUK stand
I
for?
think that it was great for my Discord chat where the salt just fucking exploded for no reason. It's just a refinement of the current system. It's really not that much different. How they're going to handle it, because people invested real money into it.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have any. Fuck the Vanguard.
What is Jay Lee's talking about? Silas Corner, love your work in there.
Silas is the fictional character that revealed the Pioneer. He's the Elon Musk of Star.
Yeah, the one we couldn't think of the name of.
Yeah. So
I still can't remember.
Maybe Jay Lee did his voice.
Maybe it is Jay Lee. Next question. From Pratermeyer. Do you expect that there will be any kind of world-ending weapons, i.e. black hole red matter, antimatter bombs, very nasty biochemicals, etc., altering blast bombs, that would be completely banned among many, if not all, faction species in the universe? That would make anyone using said weapons the enemy of the state, or some sort that will automatically put you on the kill list in the game.
There's only one problem with that. If it exists, somebody will use it and somebody will... It's that simple.
Do you expect to see some sort of Geneva Convention existing in the game?
As in lore control? Probably. To say you can't have this because of lore? Probably. A lot of that stuff's going to be based on sort of explanation that makes no sense, but it's there for a reason.
Yeah, but the Geneva Convention can only apply to those you have either signed agreement with or authority over, right? So the Van Duel ain't going to be signing the Geneva Convention or anything. So
no explanation makes any sense when you're dealing with players who can be pirates or NPCs that are,
No. Why can't you have nuclear weapons in the game? Would be a lore controlled, so you wouldn't get it. There would be a lore in place just to say that you can't have nuclear. Why can't I have this or that? Just because lore.
They don't exist.
And that might be a Geneva convention.
Because in the Star
deal.
Citizen universe, nuclear technology to that level would never develop.
Okay.
Or because Chris Roberts said, fuck you. You can't have
Nuclear
it.
bombs. We have terraformers, for God's sake.
Well, they kill more life than nuclear bombs. So
Next question and the last question. From Mayonnaise 15, what crazy bug would you like to encounter when 3.0 goes to PTU? Example, landing on a planet and having the planet shoot off into quantum.
I want to be on the planet
Interesting.
with Eden, shoot her in the back, and she ends up on a different planet or just out in space.
Wait, why does it have to be shooting me?
Because you shoot us.
Really? You have to ask that?
it's payback's a bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Fine, be that way.
I'm sure that there's going to be an astronomical amount of bugs that you discover through gameplay that you're just going to be like, what the fuck just happened?
Stuff like that makes me miss the witch glitch segment sometimes. I'm like, because there's crazy amount of bugs happening right now, and that'd be kind of a nice episode for some levity. And I hope it returns down the road. When they have some time with stuff. I'm sure they have a stockpile of stuff.
But really interesting. We know who would also be really interested in all that footage.
Who?
What do you think?
Derek.
Yeah, because
Oh.
it's what they do.
Yeah, but
They
everything
just
that he
gather all
said
that
is
shit.
he's made himself
From
irrelevant
Evocati
by
leaks.
making asinine arguments, shit that he has no fucking idea.
But that's
Every game has bugs.
But that's
Of
a
course.
great point, and that's why I think they stop Witch Glitch until they get 3.0 out, and I bet you'll see it return with like, oh, these are bugs we already fixed.
Right. And
It's
that's a
not
good way to do it.
Yeah, it's like these are already done.
You're
These,
backtracking
but this
it,
is
yeah.
funny shit that happened like back when. So that makes more sense than like let's give these guys ammo to bullshit with right now. Let's show shit that is already mitigated.
Okay, so before you wrap all this shit up, there is one other question directed towards our guest that didn't make it in before the question cut off from Trade Mogul question for Mitauchi. Why did you pick that name when Mitani exists?
I did answer that in chat, but to expand on that, I've had that nickname since I was 12, and that was because my first name is Mitch, and I studied a lot of Eastern philosophy, and I was always into like some of the Eastern arts and stuff. So they just kind of made it sound a little bit more, I guess, Asian stuff to call me
Asian.
Mitauchi. Yeah,
It must be ancient
so,
Xi'an
it's
language.
pretty simple.
Oh,
Pretty
Mutachi-san.
No super deep.
Wise massa.
It's like, I spent 7 days and 7 nights in the desert. I came to be a politician. No, it's just that simple. It was just
Tripping
that.
on peyote.
There you go. It's that simple. It's in that way.
I am the Mitachi.
Because I played EVE Online, I've heard that a lot, though, with Mitani being the way up high, retired lawyer, head of Goon Swarm. It's not the first person who's ever asked.
That is the weirdest fucking cult shit I've ever seen surrounding a game, honestly. God, that is so
What,
weird.
the Goon stuff?
Yeah, and they're like kissing the guy's ring and all this like Pope
Well,
shit.
it's a beautiful thing for them, and it all
it's
started
weird.
as a troll though, because and a lot of that this is what I warned some citizens about, because there's this whole thing people joke like Astropub does in everybody else about, hey, the new guys come in or the newbies or all these guys that are gonna come in Star Citizen after launch or down the road and stuff. That's what happened in EVE. Like everybody got a whole elitist complex. I've been here since day one. And when the new guys came in, they were all alienated and they lynched into the Something Awful forums with those guys. And they formed this huge mass of new people. And that's what toppled the elite class inside EVE. And that's how goons were created. Because everybody was like, oh, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We're the elitists. We just come by and just raffle stomp everything. And eventually their numbers overwhelmed the original guys. And
Well, we'll see how that plays out in the Star Citizen community. But at
It'd be
this point
interesting.
in time, it seems that for the most part, this community has been probably the most accepting to new
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
patrons than anything. Always answering questions and welcoming
Well,
and
also a lot more vocal, right? When Eve started in 2003, Twitch wasn't like this, and also,
Right.
there wasn't as much social communication, so everybody was pretty separated and alienated. Here, it's a lot more. No, man, just come in and ask questions and stuff. So it's a lot different dynamic. It's a lot different dynamic. So I think I warn off of that because some people get elitist complex, but I'm down there with the ground and pounders and the new guys. So I like those guys. I like fresh meat that comes in.
Yeah, but think about
They
how
always
much
keep me
more
going.
grown up are you now, like actual real life mentally grown up now
Yep.
than you were back in the day. Sure, because when I was playing Counter-Strike,
Mm-hmm.
original Counter-Strike, way the fuck back in the day, I was an asshole. Just like every other fucking 20-year-old fucking twit on
I'm still
the
an
internet,
asshole now. You get me FCing on a fleet. I'm not a nice person when you don't listen.
Well, that's a different scenario, though, when you're trying to control assets and stuff. But I mean, just generally trolling motherfuckers to troll them because they don't have the time in to have the skill.
I don't know.
Which is really cool.
I started streaming though as an anti-troll. I mean, I've always hunted down the trolls. That's always been my thing. I like it when I find the people that like to troll and be nasty and grief, and they're better targets because not only do you get the pleasure of like watching a troll self-implode, because when they can't deal with it. Anybody who goes around and does that to people, when it's turned back on them, they lose their fucking minds. They can't deal with it. It's always the way it is. Bullies always can't take it. That's just how.
What's really cool in this community is we were talking about it earlier, AOTW, right? AOTW and Star Marine, when they get in, they just clear a fucking server. But if you ever talk to them, they are so fucking nice. And they want to help you become a better player.
Yeah, if they just stop hacking, it'd be okay.
Well, that'd be great. The aimbot's got to go.
There we go.
I've called Mellerath out on that a couple times.
Okay, guys, we're gonna pull the raffle. Waffle.
Wow, we are fucking way over. Holy shit.
Yeah.
You also have to answer the question.
I'm a talker. I'm sorry.
No. 45
Yeah, you are.
people pull in. Well, the winner is Hiyasi, and he is a follower. Congratulations.
Yay!
Well, that is if
Is he still there?
We'll see.
Is he still
He
there?
might have passed out. He might be taking a shit.
There he is.
Yay!
Whoa!
It wasn't me,
And
my friend. It was Eden.
thank you to Eden this time.
Eden. Yeah.
Don't deny her her props, or
that was
else you will
$13.
pay with blood.
I understand where you're coming from, though, bro. So much love. Much love.
Please send me a private message. You know the drill. And next would be the winner of the question segment. There were several good questions, and one of the parameters I put into it is how engaging the topic was.
Oh, well, there was one we talked about for like 20 fucking minutes.
I know. That's one of the parameters. The second part is Eden's not democratic. So I'm torn between, what was it?
Well, now you're gonna make the loser feel like a real big dick.
Don't say the
Two of
name.
them.
Just read the question.
Okay, the question is, one with the base building. What would you design, or not? What would you design for a Star Citizen if you could? That was I love design questions. The second
That was
one
directed at you too, wasn't it?
Actually, he put that question in before we mentioned. Yeah. So, and the other one was, where did it go? There's still so many questions on the list because I didn't want to get rid of them.
Bend her over.
What is Jay Lee going on about in chat? Is he saying Jay Lee's a winner? Do you want a piece of hanger flare, kid? I'll give you a piece of hanger flare. I need to clean my shit out anyway.
Gazillion.
Just call me, baby.
What did it say? Renegade Shank says, I'm son, not me. So he's subscribed? Imp sub?
Oh,
He has
imperative
flares.
subscribers. So he has all the.
Yeah.
But what I give is meltable, so it's like a $5 gift card. I don't give you the free shit. I give you the money.
Oh, here comes Meyer kissing some ass here. Question: why are architects always awesome? What
Wow.
the fuck?
Subtle.
God.
Cap.
Yeah, very subtle. Yeah.
So, does that change anything? Okay, he says no. Shank says no to him. So, next question I was going to pick would be...
Okay, Jeopardy music.
Yes. Ento... I can't pronounce his name. Edo
There's actually
Coretta?
music playing underneath us. We just
Edo
came-
Coretta? After 3.1 and ships are purchasable in-game, will CIG still be making the money they need with less people buying ships for real money? I like money talks. Jay Lee, my god.
What is going on?
You know
Oh,
how she
wow.
does it? She goes out the night before and she gets drunk as fuck on like a
Texan.
fucking golf driving range with the boys. That's how she does it. That's hangover Eden right there.
So who won Eden?
That'll be... I can't pronounce his name. If he's still in chat, Edo Coretta? Edo Coretta?
Well,
Ido, where are you?
he's
Just add him
shoot
in
me a
chat, he'll
message
get
or something
poked.
so I can go.
Yeah.
I need his name.
Okay, let me... Edo...
Copy paste.
I probably mispronounced it like a banshee. Hold on. Here you go. Copy. Paste. Tia's already on it. Okay.
There you go. Is he still here?
Is he still here? Jaylee, I'll buy you a hanger flare. Or you could just ask your sugar daddy.
Do you want a ship? I got ships for you, son. You want
Okay, I
one with
don't-
a bed too, don't you? Filthy fuck.
If he's not here, I don't think he's there. Wait, is that enough time?
It's pronounced Jay Lee. I don't think he's here.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, the
This
next
could take all night if we had to find.
nope. Next one would be Mr. Pratermarier, because even though a couple of those questions can be long, it always engages us in a bunch of
He
conversation.
always asks the best questions. We missed him
Well, he
for the
earns it
longest time
too.
while he was wherever engaging in slave trade or something. I'm not exactly sure what he was doing.
It would be easy, Firemeyer or Fire M, if the people were still in chat.
So,
Love.
All right, I'm sending him a message in Twitch then.
All right, so it's done.
Yep, and I'll have it handled.
That's what the producer was waiting for. Because look at him, he's like, "All right, now we can get the phone."
Now we're done. Like this. This show is now 3 hours. It's settled.
If you do that, it'll go 4.
Damn.
Oh shit.
I call Space Bros always a 2-hour show, and it always goes 3 hours. So that's why I'm scared to ever.
you
make it a
ain't
3-hour
beating
show.
10 hours. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but we're a radio station. What if someone was behind us in the schedule and is like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're my
There
airtime,
used to
goddamn it!"
be.
Then you
There
just got
used
to
to
cut
be.
them off.
Yeah, only a couple of weeks. I know. Yeah. Like, I'm sorry. We're going to a commercial break.
Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'll block out the next block on the schedule for 2 hours, and then this show can
Exactly.
long as it fucking needs to.
But
and
then
we'll
you have
call
to
it
go that
pirate
long.
radio.
Well, then you just play a VOD whenever you got to fill it.
Yeah,
VOD.
Just do that, and just do a VOD.
a video on demand. Yeah,
We don't.
I just
can't record
rebroadcast a
that.
YouTube video.
It's like we rerun this show on the Twitch.
Like every
thing,
favorite
Yeah, you do anything.
episode. Like we could
No.
just pick a favorite episode and feature.
Or make a highlight reel.
We do put them
Yeah.
on YouTube though. If the listeners are like, "Oh shit, I missed part of this show," you can watch it on YouTube later. This will be a long video though, but It'll
if
be
you
up
pull
there.
down segments from YouTube, you can actually paste together a VOD.
Well, see,
Uploads on
Mitauchi,
Twitch now.
this shit gets really complicated here because this shit started off as it's not a fucking podcast, right? And we only do radio, which was only audio. And then we had to fight to get video. And then we finally got, and then we don't do archiving of the video because it's still quote unquote a radio station. And then we had to fight to get the archived video, but it can only go on YouTube. It can't go in Twitch's video on demand, and it's complicated. It's really complicated.
I think I'm going to make a new talk show, and it's going to involve only sock puppets.
Yeah.
God,
Right, and that way,
do it on the base.
it's like sit there.
Like this.
The
Sock
sock
puppet
puppet
show.
episode.
Like,
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Hi, I'm Jutta. Hi, I'm Jay Lee. Oh, you sexy Asian. Oh, I like you, Matt.
Oh.
Boy.
This got really
Oh my god! People who don't know you and Jaylee are gonna feel like you're racist.
yeah.
Clip that and get it all over
You know,
the community.
like I ever gave
That's
a fuck.
getting.
This is the technical difficulty marker right there.
Sock puppets.
Jaylee
There
says,
we-
"I like this."
I like this.
Get me more.
Oh my gosh.
That's okay. I've had some seriously ridiculous shit clipped on Twitch, like 32 Rams.
Yeah.
Became a meme for a long time.
God damn it. It's,
So thank you.
yeah, like I said, it'll be on YouTube later. Well, what else can we say? Well, thank you all for being here. We're
What's
gonna
going
have to end this. What's going on next week? Yeah.
Yeah. Next week we have Red Lear on the guest on the round table.
My favorite giraffe.
My favorite draft too.
We're gonna ask about we're gonna ask about that then next week. Related
Yep.
to that.
And there's like Speed Lunatics on Fridays. There's good shows on throughout the base radio. Just exclamation schedule if that is working, and you can see what programs are available. We have live DJs, and one of my favorite is Cold Fission with Fizzer, and it's all request radio show on Tuesday nights.
The schedule
So
actually
then-
auto adjusts
Drive.
again. Like I was no
It just started working?
It started working. I was like,
Whoa, fucking Google.
Google, it's the Google Calendar. It's funny how that calendar has always looked the same since its inception of the technology into Google. It's so old and so ugly, actually, but it works. It works. It's fine. Anyway, yeah. Well, then Mitauchi, did we actually put? I think WeMso keeps posting your links anyway throughout the whole chat thing. Yeah, there we go. So we know we can find you all the way over there on twitch.tv/Mitauchi, Twitter Mitauchi, YouTube Mitauchi. Oh, it's the same everywhere. Look at that.
It is.
Wow.
Hey, look
What's
at
your
that
name?
consistency. I
What was your name
he
again?
says it. Mitauchi.
Oh, Mitauchi.
There you go. There you go.
Oh.
Mitauchi.
And
And,
I'll be on the
Hey,
air.
wise man, you
And I'll
go
be back
to
on the
his
air
Twitch
in
and
2
you
hours.
follow.
2 hours.
2 hours, you follow.
You could Higabel. You'll be on Twitch TV. Ooh.
Oh
10
god, you
hour day.
guys!
10-hour day. He stream all day.
Oh my god, I'm gonna shoot you.
Now we're
all
done
of
for
you.
real.
Good show, guys. See you later.
Thank you for being here, Mitauchi. It's awesome.
See ya. Oh my gosh.
Thank you for the listeners.
guys are all
Congrats to the
dead.
winners, and we'll be
Dead
back.
to me.
Fucking hell. We'll be back next week with Red Lear here on
We'll
the
see you
2000 Base
never
Roundtable.
again.
It's, it's gonna be funny. Anyway, thank you all for being here, and we'll see you next week on another roundtable. Yeah, goodbye. Watch this on YouTube.
See ya.
I support the monkeys. Do you? Check out The Base, 24/7 online radio. Oh, yeah! Visit us at TheBase.sc. They're professionals.